We live? Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, we live,
sir.
we live. What up, what up, what up? It's your boy Red Milwaukee 414, straight from Sneakerheads Clothing Line. Once again, we back in the building another Tuesday. Sneakerheads Clothing Line Radio Live. Today is June 23rd, 2020, man. Y'all see we got the usual suspects, the homies with me, and we have the special guests in the building. We got Kid from Kid and Play in the building with us tonight, man. This is an honor. I've
For
been,
real.
me and OG been talking about this for years.
I
And
know.
we finally getting this done. So most definitely I appreciate the OG coming through. First of all, let the homies go ahead and do the intros, and then obviously I'll let the special guest do his thing as well. Go ahead, IBA, you can start it.
Oh, you already know what it is, man. It's your boy IBA. You already know. You know what I'm saying? The class clown, aka your favorite troll. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, we here, you know what I'm saying, to do what we normally do. We got Kid in the building, you know what I'm saying? Like he said, it's an honor to be here, you know, sit here and chop it up with you, you know what I'm saying? I always see you on TV. I never imagine this day would ever happen, you know what I'm saying? But it's dope though. We're gonna get in it though. Let's get it.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy BX. You can find me on IG, BX underscore rage double underscore. Yo, it's a pleasure, man. Like, Rep, I hit you up, what, yesterday? Like, yo, who are you? How do you know these people that you keep bringing on the show? Like, where does this come from? But, man, it's a pleasure. You know, I've seen you in House Party. I've seen you in your music. It's a pleasure to sit here and interact and have a conversation with you. So, let's do it.
Second that, yep.
Okay, can I say this real quick about Rep?
Yeah.
If you're asking how does he, he is what they call relentless. Like he don't, you know what I'm saying? He's very persistent, in a good way, not like a trolling way or not like a disrespectful way at all. He just, I think he realizes the space in which, y'all are working with, and sometimes, slow and steady wins the race. And we had talked about it for a while, and sometimes all of the planets have to align in order for it to happen, and they aligning like a motherfucker now. So, but nah, it's great to be here, man. I've been following you on the IG for a long time. I peeped, I'm a big sneakerhead from back in the day, so I always got to peep it and see what's going on, see what you youngins is doing, and it's cool to kick it with y'all.
Nah, that's a fact, man. That's a fact. Yeah, me and OG, man, we kicked it off. Started following the brand, man, a couple years back, man. It's not even like it was last year. It's been a couple years now to think about it. And I mean, we just been chopping it up throughout the years, and built a relationship. And then I asked him plenty of times, like in the last 2 years, like, but like you said, the stars never aligned. And then obviously everything going on right now, we all chilling at home, basically, still a little bit. And I hit OG up the other day. I said, "Hey, man, come on, man."
Right,
Stop.
right. He hit me like LL on Mama Said Knock You Out. Come on, man. Come on, man. I was like, all right, motherfucker. All right.
Yeah, I said, "Hey, come on, stop playing." He said, "Hey,
Come on,
all
man.
right, we gonna do it. We gonna do it on Tuesday." So most definitely, I appreciate the OG coming through. So I guess we can kick it off with Kid. Obviously, everybody knows you as Kid, from Kid and Play. When did you guys actually start the group? Because I know you guys were in two separate groups before you guys actually got together.
Mhm.
So how did that actually come together where you guys met and then it was like, yo, man, like, what I'm saying, we should do this together or whatever? Or was that like a Herbie thing also as well though?
Well, a lot of things came into play. We all grew up in Queens. We all grew up together. Myself, Play, Herbie. But initially in our neighborhood, East Elmhurst, Queens, New York, like right near LaGuardia Airport, Play and I were in two different neighborhood groups. He was in a group called the Super Lovers. I was in a group called the Turnout Brothers. But over time, people didn't really see hip hop or rapping as a career. It really wasn't, the landscape really wasn't out there like that. So a lot of the other cats, not fell off, but just got on with their lives, went on with school, got real jobs and that type of stuff. And pretty much it was kind of weird. Like Play and I were like the last dude standing, and we were like, well, we still want to do something. We were homeboys. We hung out every day. And we just decided, all right, we didn't even have it all figured out yet, but we knew we wanted to work together. We felt we had a chemistry, natural chemistry. And so bring in Herbie Lovebug, who was in the neighborhood at that time as well. by then he had already made his name with Salt and Pepper. He had blown them up. And you know, he decided to, you know, we were all homeboys. Like I said, we grew up together, but the timing was right. Once again, when things aligned, you know, it was the right time. And Herbie took us on. You know, we became Kid and Play, started opening for Salt and Pepper, you know, jumping on some of their joints. And, you know, he kind of integrated us into his camp at the time, which was known as the Idol Makers Camp. So you had Salt and Pepper, you had Kid and Play, you had Dana Dane, you had Sweet Tea, you had Kwame, and the other producers as well. And you know, he kind of brought us all together, showed us how to be a real crew, showed us how to help one another. You know, Salt and Pepper was the big dogs at that time, so you know, we everybody kind of fed off of that. So you opened for Salt and Pepper, or you know, when they were in the studio writing stuff, you know, I would come in there and you know, you just, you know, you throwing out stuff, and if it sticks, it's great. You know what I mean? It's each one teach one. It's being in one another's videos to give each other's light. You know, after we had blown up, we had Kwame in our videos. You know, like Kwame and Salt and Pepper videos. Then when Kwame did his videos, we jumped in his video to give him some light. You know, Dana Dane had us in his videos early in the game before we got on. So it's always been a real, you know, it began as a real brotherhood, sisterhood. And that's kind of how we got that early, you know, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut fame. And, you know, I'm trying to give y'all the Cliff Notes version, like it's, but you know, that was the early beginnings on the music tip, and that's what we were really into. I don't think we ever imagined or dreamed that it would go where it went onto television, the movies, and all that. At that particular time, we were just, you know, some hip hop cats from Queens, and you know, we wanted to represent. We wanted to have our own style. We didn't want anybody to look like us. You know, a lot of the cats that come up today, they automatically be like, look like me, dress like me, talk like me, be like me. And that's cool. That's cool. That's how they rock. But it was weird. You know, maybe we just weren't great on the marketing tip back then, but we were just like, don't look like us. Like, don't dress like this. Don't wear your hair like this. Don't dance like us. You know, we had a mindset like we were the cool kids. Like, don't that. But in a weird way, what happens is when you tell people don't do something, what they want to do, they want to do exactly. They're like, you know, they're like, fuck you, kid. I'm fucking rock my head. Like, don't tell me what to do. Don't tell me what to do. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So, it kind of worked. It worked in reverse. But you know, we were really independent. And you guys know, man, when you're young, you're not, you know, you're just not scared of anything. You know, we weren't scared of the future. We just knew that, you know, we could always get a job. You know, I didn't want to, you know, I was on my way to law school that I did not want to go to. So I was just like, if worst come to worst, you know, I'll go to law school, you know, my father will be happy, you know, you know, whatever. But I knew I wasn't going to be happy unless I had, you know, really, you know, splayed out all my dreams, you know. So and that's what happened. Shit started clicking, and then the rest was history.
Man, one thing that I didn't know, or actually I probably just don't remember, is that so Salt and Pepper was before. So Salt and Pepper was really the first, and then all of y'all just came in alignment after that.
Oh yeah, Salt and Pepper was first. They was first. They dropped their first joint. Their first joint came out like 86. They did an answer record to Dougie Fresh's The Show called Showstopper. Yeah, that was their first single. Big New York hit. Big New York, you know, East Coast, Northeast hit. And you know, they went on from there. But yeah, they were the ones. They blazed the trail. They put us all on. And if you look at a lot of Salt and Pepper videos, you'll see us in the back dancing, all in the back before we blew up, you know, shake your thing. I'm checking out the fella with the high top fade, all that. So, you know, Herbie was very smart in that. And you know, it was funny to see people like the Diddy's and the Master P's later on use a lot of the techniques that Herbie did in terms of, you know, reintegrating and making sure all the parts work together and the strong help the weak and on up the ladder so that everybody could win. So, you know, he taught us how to be team players. And like I said, we were young. We weren't making like stupid money back then. You know, we were just jumping around, having a great time, meeting a lot of girls and stuff. You know, trying to look fly. And once again, you know, sometimes you're just too young to be afraid, and we weren't afraid at all.
One question we got real quick in the chat. Shout out to Ryan Goldsberry. He said, "Where did y'all originality come from with the dancing? I guess you know, like with the Charleston, different things like that." Because I wanted to ask y'all, I wanted to ask you that too, because we never talked about that before, and I never asked you. Like, how did y'all, besides you know the kick step, where you know, how did y'all even come up with that? Was it y'all was just looking at something one day and it was just like, yo?
Well, I'll give you a little bit of background. I mean, cats that were from that era in New York at the time, that hip hop community, the hip hop was dope, but the dancing community was amazing. You know, you had the IOU dancers, you had all these different dance crews, and you know, we would go to the clubs in the city, the Union Squares, the Latin Quarters, and we would, you know, cats would battle and you know, do their thing. So the dancing scene was really, really popping. And so that's something that Play and I, we always knew we wanted to incorporate that into what, you know, whatever act that we were putting together. And a lot of rappers didn't do that. The rappers didn't do the dancing themselves. You know what I mean? The rappers guys had some dancers. And at one point in time, we had some dancers as well. And then, you know, we just began to kind of do it ourselves. So that, and then we thought, you know, we thought that would help us kind of separate from everybody else, because everybody else wasn't doing that. Once again, we had some dancers at one particular time. These three young ladies that were called Nonstop, and they had a version of the kick step where they kind of did it with the three of them, and they used to dance for us and whatnot. And we saw that dance playing out. We were like, yo, that joint is fly, man. I said, why don't we try to, you know, try to flip it, so instead of three people doing it, it'd just be two people. So we kind of co-opted it and flipped it so that it was, you know, it was just the two of us doing it. And never in a million years did we think it would crack like that. We just thought it was something cool to do, like in between the verses or at the end of a joint or whatever like that. Once again, to kind of set us apart from what everybody else was doing at the time. And you know, after a while, you know, we threw it in our first music video, "Do This My Way." It popped, and then it just became something that everybody expected to see every time that we performed. It's like if they didn't get that, you know, they was gonna be running around there with torches like Frankenstein. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, to this day, I mean, we were, you know, Play and I were touring all over the country right up until the time of the virus. And you know, when we perform, they expect to see it, and you know, and we give it to them. So you know, we're just amazed that, you know, to this day. What's my man, that boxer? To this day.
Hey, you know what? And it will never die, bro.
To this day.
That's not going nowhere. We could be gone and people gonna still be doing that.
Listen, I just reposted something that somebody put up on Instagram. They had a Kid and Play, Ain't Gonna Hurt Nobody playing in the background. And these people had, I guess they was getting ready to eat some frog legs. And so they had the frog legs doing the Kid and Play, you know, whole thing like So I had to make a comment. I said, you know what? I love y'all, but y'all need to get out the house. Right?
That's a fact.
So it's certainly taken on a life of its own, and it's one of the things that we've become known for, and you know, we appreciate it. We're just, you know, astonished to this day.
That's to this
day. You know, he's saying that all night now.
Man.
Hey, so I mean, I guess I started up for my backstory, because I mean, we talked about this before, OG. Like, y'all was one of the first groups that I got introduced to when it came to hip hop, and so when it came to do it my way and getting funky and all that, like changed me. Like when it came to music, so like when I saw that, I was like, yo, what is this? And then it was like, I mean, from the hairstyle to the clothes, I mean, to the dancing. like all of that, like that changed the game for me when it came to music. Like I really got introduced to hip hop, like really off of y'all, LL Cool J, Kwame, like that in that era right there, being really young. And so like, and then when when House Party hit the scene, it was like, boy, like what is this? And like that hit the scene like. Hey, remember when the Chronic came out? Like that's what it was. It
Oh
was
yeah.
like, yo, you couldn't go nowhere without hearing the Chronic in everybody's car. That's how it was
Right.
when it came to when House Party came out. It was like that was the first movie I saw more than once. And I wasn't
Right.
even old, I wasn't even old enough to go see it, to keep it real. Like
Right. Right. You weren't going to be stopped though.
no, hey, that's a fact. So I saw it more than once, and then it was the all-star cast that was in it. It was an all-star cast before it was an all-star cast, to keep it real. And like, how did that even come around? Like with y'all getting getting in the movie, or y'all getting casted for it, or
Well, you know what? After our first album, Too Hype, did really really well,
yeah,
and we were touring all over the country, and we had a few music videos out. Um, we like I said, we had been opening for Salt and Pepper, but things started popping up so much that we started to kind of rise, up in our own regard, So there was a cat in New York. I used to go out to the clubs a lot, and there was a guy that used to always roll up on me, and a brother, and he'd want to know if he could direct our music videos. But we had a guy at the time. We had a guy that we were working with, like our first 3-4 music videos. We had a cat, and we were like, what? And I was like, no disrespect, homie, but we're good on that right now. You know what I'm saying? I'd seen his work, and it was pretty cool. And I would see him occasionally. Then one time he came at me, and he wasn't talking about a music video anymore. He was talking about a movie. He's like, man, I got this movie script that I wrote, and I think I can get, I'd love you to read it and and let me know if you and Play might be interested in doing it. I've got some interest, these movie companies, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, all right, bet. So I read it, and this was the original House Party script, and the guy that gave it to me was Reggie Hudlin, who was the director.
Mhm.
So I read it, and people by then had been starting to submit movie ideas and things for us, and a lot of them were like really super super corny. And it was kind of my job in the crew to read stuff. Like anytime it was time to read stuff, yo man, kid, read this, man. What's going on? I'm like, all right. I'm the only one that graduated college, so I guess that was my job, right? I think they was just lazy, but whatever. So most of the stuff I had read, I really didn't think was up to the level that it needed to be. But when I read the House Party script for the first time, I was like, you know what? I was like, it's not all there. I said, but I think we can get it there. So I told Herbie Lovebug and I told Play, I said, look, out of 100, I think maybe it's like 70. But I said, I think we can get it up there. We can get it the rest of the way. If it's 70, 75 where it needs to be, we can get it the rest of the way. So we met with Reggie. By then, Reggie had secured financing from New Line Cinema.
Yeah.
So the long and short of it was, Reggie and his brother Warrington, who produced the movie, they really wanted us to do it. They had been watching our music videos and stuff to that point. They saw, our first album was damn near platinum. We were like the hottest New York cats or whatever.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? With that crossover potential, but not looking like we wanted to cross over. We was like, y'all crossing over to us, man. We ain't crossing over to y'all type stuff.
Right.
So the long and short of it was they brought us down to New Line Cinema. New Line Cinema at the time had a little tiny office on 14th Street. We went up there. They wanted to meet Play and I. They wanted us to read some scenes from the movie. Then they wanted to do a couple of little improv to see about the chemistry and camaraderie that we either had or didn't have. So we did that. And I remember leaving thinking like, well, there goes the movie business. Like I didn't think I didn't think we did too well. I don't know. I don't know if we were stiff or if they were stiff or both of us were stiff. But I didn't feel the best about it. But I was like, you know what? If I don't hear from these cats in a couple of days, then whatever, we'll move on. Like we were touring all over the place. Like, you know what I mean? We just go back on the road and smash out, like that.
Word.
So one of the executives was gonna walk us down downstairs to leave. We're right there on 14th Street, Manhattan, and we went down there. And for some reason, this was right about the time where school was letting out. There was a local high school like down the block. So we're out here with this movie executive, and we come outside. So there's a gang of kids outside, and they're flipping. You know, they see me and play, and they just flipping, bugging the whole thing. And the movie guy, the movie executive, sees that.
Yeah.
And that might have been the thing, you know, that kind of maybe pushed it over the top, saying like, yo, these dudes is hot right now. You know, they got what we can't buy. So,
Right.
you know, blah, blah, blah type, you know, that type of deal. So then they came back, they hit us back a couple of days, say, hey, man, we want you to do a movie and blah, blah, blah. And we were still like a little leery, you know, we were just like, yeah, right. You know, whatever, man. Like, I'll believe it when we, you know, we touched down in LA and you know what I'm saying? You know, every step, like I believe it when I signed the contract. I signed the contract. Well, I believe it when we get to LA. And everything, you know, they said was going to happen. And we ended up in LA. And I remember us getting off the plane, and they got us these apartments out in Los Angeles. And me and Play kind of looked at each other, and we was like, I guess we got to make a movie now. Like, all right.
Word.
So, you know, it was one of the great experiences of our career. You know, kind of the turbo booster. And, you know, we met and worked with so many great people that we got a chance to work with again and again, and that are friends to this day. So, you know, we didn't know that. And I think that sometimes that was the beauty of our journey, is that we didn't know what was going to happen next, because it was still brand new. I mean, hip hop was still brand new. We didn't have to, you know, the one cool thing about the kids of today is they've never not known a world without hip hop.
Yeah.
Right.
They've been having hip hop their whole life. We old enough, like I remember when they wasn't hip hop. You know what I mean? When we was R&B in it and all this and that. You know what I'm saying? That's all. That's all we had. We had to make do. So we didn't. There wasn't a charted plan. It wasn't a charted path. You know, these kids today, they can say, "Hey, man, I want to do this. I want to do that," because people have done it. There's a market for it. People see it as a viable career. Like nobody thought you could be a DJ for your whole life. You know, we thought you could be a DJ. Like I could DJ my whole life. Like I could be in my 60s DJ. You know what I mean? Like you couldn't envision it.
Right.
But as things kept materializing, or new opportunities, you know, we examined each one, and we were just like, did it feel like something we could do, something that would be fun, something we'd have fun doing, something that would be up to the level of achievement that we've been, you know, starting to experience, and that we would make a decision based on that. So, but yeah, House Party was the game changer.
Now, another question I got pertaining to House Party real quick too, or House Party 1, is that so I mean, Martin was the DJ. So did y'all bring Martin with y'all, or was he already outside cast, you know, from y'all? Because I know y'all was already cool, or y'all was friends and stuff like that before you know, the movie.
We knew Martin prior, but we didn't get Martin on. Martin got that on his own. You know, he auditioned for it, and Reggie hired him. And it was almost like a little reunion. We were like, oh, you know, because we had worked together or close by, you know, years earlier. You know, we Play and I were working at Sears, and Martin worked at the gas station across the street. You know what I mean?
Damn.
And then he ended up coming over to work over there, and then we left, and then Salt and Pepper came over there. So it was, I mean, it's 1,000,001 shot. At one point in time, that same Sears Roebuck office, you had Salt and Pepper, Kid and Play, and Martin Lawrence all worked there at one point in time or another, and we all made it. Like that's gotta be, that's gotta be like a 1,000,000,000 to 1 shot. But no, Martin got that on his own. Now moving forward, I got him into House Party 2. They was trying to front on him House Party 2, but by then we was, you know, we had a lot of leverage. So by then I could make a phone call and I could be like, you know, they didn't want Full Force or Martin Lawrence in the second film. We were like, yeah. They sent me a script. They sent me a script for how, after the success of House Party 1, it's everything, blah, blah, blah. Everything's blown up. So now they want to do House Party 2. So they send me the script for House Party 2 so I can read it and kind of break it down and let everybody know what's going on. And I read it, and there's no Martin. They got some new best friend. And then there's no Full Force. I know they had maybe some new villains or whatever like that. And by then, like I said, we had the leverage. So I called my manager at the time, who was a big, big shot. And I told him, I said, yo, tell him, put them back in. Put Martin back in and put Full Force back in. Facts. Yeah. And they had no choice. You know, and I knew it was the right thing to do. I wouldn't just throw them in there because they was my homeboys. I threw them in there because I knew they had a great performance in the first film, and that if we're going to do a second film, the audience is going to be expecting them. Yeah, they have an expectation of that, and I had no doubt, I had no reservations that they would do it as good or better than they did it in the first film. So, you know, that's different. You know, putting your boys on just to be on. That's not always the smartest thing to do, because, you know, you had to bring something to the table and help the situation. But, you know, I wouldn't put them front and center like that if I didn't, you know, if we didn't believe that they could deliver like they had the first time. So, you know, it's one of the few times in the business, a lot of times you get leverage like that. And when you get it, when you have it, you have to use it, because you can dollars to donuts. When they got the leverage on you, guess what? They're going to use it. And they'll tell you, it's just business. That's that's their thing. And so that's what I did. I said, you know, boom, boom, boom. I said, let them know. I said, it ain't personal. It's business. I want this film to be the best film it can be. You know what I mean? Y'all, this is the second house party. Your motherfuckers expecting that joint to be whack or something. I said, no, we gotta let them know. No, we ain't gonna come exactly the same. But there's certain castmates that we felt like that we needed, that enhanced it. And, you know, those are two examples of that. Now, and over the course of time, the house party movies have always been introducing new people. But there's certain people that you want to keep there. You know, we needed to have Tisha in the second one. But we brought in Queen Latifah. We had Iman. We had that Rico Suave dude. You know what I'm saying? One of them dudes. I think it was the Rico Suave dude. One of them dudes from that era. And they all did a great job. So, yeah, by that time we were well on our way, you know, and we were well in the house party business, and that was cool too. And come with the Pajama Jammy Jam, which people still rock to this day. You know, we just did a
y'all started away with the Jimmy Jams, because we used to do it. We did it in college. Every college campus did at least one Pajama Jam.
Pajama Jammy Jam. Stop it.
It's not a single black college.
Come on,
that does not do it every year.
Come on.
I can only speak. I can speak for my own. At Grambling, we did it every year religiously, and they still do it. So I can just speak for that.
No, oh my God, I see. You know, even if you just flipping around online, somebody always doing a Pajama Jammy.
Yeah, that's a birthday party and stuff.
You know, the rapper Mr. FAB. He had a birthday party last year. And he had us come up and perform, and it was a Pajama Jammy Jam up in the Bay. And it was cold, but man, them cats came out. They're just like, whatever, man.
Yeah, it doesn't get old, man. It's
my goodness.
It doesn't get old.
That's one of those things, once again, that has stood the test of time. Like if it you know, the dance, or just the concept of Pajama Jammy Jam, or you know, the dance steps, the hair, stuff like that. And like I said, initially, we're not doing it thinking that 30 years later, people will still be talking about it, doing it, and enjoying participating in it. But that's just how it turned out. You know, that's just how it turned out.
That's a fact.
You know that High Tide Fade came back. It's young dudes out in Chicago. Let me tell you something. It's kids out in Chicago rocking that high fade like what you used to rock.
I think it looks great on them. You know, look, it's a young man's hairstyle. You know, number one. And I guess to this generation, it's so old that it's new.
Yeah.
And I think these kids today, look, the concept of when I was doing it, part of it was going back to, once again, we didn't want anybody to look like us, because everybody wasn't doing it back then.
Right.
When I started rocking a high top, people a lot of people used to laugh, especially white people. Just laugh all day because it looked so strange to them, you know? And everybody started getting fades, especially on the Northeast, but I just kept rocking mine. And the point was, I didn't care if you liked how I looked or if you didn't like how I looked. You knew there's nobody you know that looks like me. There's nobody you know that looks like me. Love it or hate it, you're gonna see me coming. And I think for a group that was trying to break away from the pack at that time, those are some of those distinctions that we needed. Oh yeah, that's a group with the nigga with the big hair. Bam. Oh, that's some dudes be dancing. You know, any distinctions that we could have to kind of set ourselves apart from the rest was how we were thinking. So and I think part of the young people today, I think they like that. I think that's why they kind of coming back to it, because they know it's going to make them stand out. These kids love to stand out now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, excuse me. When I was growing up, people like to kind of be sheep and move with the crowd, and that's why we stood out so much, because we weren't like that. But these kids today, woo, they can't wait to be different. And that's great.
Man.
You know what I mean? That's great. So to see them embracing it, and over the years, you know, every era comes, you know, the basketball players and you know, young rappers and, you know, young influencers and stuff like that. So I think it's great. And it keeps me, and it keeps, excuse me, it keeps a Kid and Play alive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just, I don't have to rock it because y'all rocking it. And that's a beautiful thing, you know.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
Yeah, I'm just glad I still got mine.
Now you said you wore that hair to separate yourself and be different, but tell these people the truth. Somebody bet you to raise the bar with your fade. Somebody was like, "How far are you gonna go with this thing, bro?"
No, but I'll tell you the reason why. Going back to what I was just saying earlier, when people were reacting when it was little, when it wasn't even that big, you know, like wow. So I said, well, you know what? I'm getting reaction, even if they walking behind me laughing. But my instinct said, keep letting it grow, keep letting it grow, keep letting it grow, keep letting it grow, because it was, as the longer it got, the more impact it was having.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, this was the juncture of a crucial time in our careers where we had to kind of be different. We had to set ourselves apart. So it was a gut thing. It was a lot, like a lot of things we did. It was a gut thing. Look, there's a lot of things we did on the gut that were horrible ideas that I won't even bother to waste your time and tell you, you know, song ideas or some fashion idea. You know, play. My thing was the music. You know, I helped create and write most of the music. And then Play was like our stylist. Play was, you know, he had a great sense of style and artistic sense. He was always fly. So he always took the lead when it comes time to like, what are we going to wear? All right, we get this album cover, da da da. And I let him take the lead on that because he's great at that. But trust me, every idea was not a slam banger. Okay, like, you got to bump your head a few times. But the good news is the ones that hit really hit.
Right. Now I know. I mean, that album cover, y'all wearing Jordans, is a classic. Like that's
you talking about the back. You talking about the back?
Yeah, the back. Yeah.
The front we got the Cortez on.
Mm-hmm.
The OG Cortez.
But on the back, y'all was wearing the threes, and that's just
original threes.
Yeah, like
original threes.
That's just classic.
88, like 88.
Man,
like I bought him in 88. He Play like the black ones, and I like the white ones.
Mm-hmm.
And look at that. Them sneakers are as hot. They hotter today than they even was back in the days. Because everybody wasn't rocking them joints back then. Once again, you know, we were just like, yo, I don't see nobody rocking them like this.
Yeah.
And we were just like, all right, cool. The car we were at, we borrowed Herbie's car because he the only one, you know, had money, so or had a Mercedes, you know what I mean? So he had that cool ass red Mercedes. We took some great pictures down in the city, and yeah, people respond to this day.
Classic is a classic, man. Classic is a classic. Go ahead, Rick.
Yeah. No, I was just gonna say, because I know you came in after we started or whatever. So I most definitely want to let you get your little 2 cents in. You know, do your little, you know what you do when you first come in, and then we keep it going.
You know, I ain't listen. I'm just a squirrel in y'all world. Cue the queen, you know. Popped on my apologies, legend kid. You know what I mean? You know, I had to take care of some things for the community.
All right. That's all right.
Yeah. I'm here with you guys tonight. I'm excited. So we do have a question in the chat, but I want to spin it a little bit. So Buckeye's asking how the cartoon came up.
Yeah.
But I also want to ask it in twofold. So that cartoon component of your career, especially during that time, is that how you know you crossed over? Is that when you know, like, okay, we there?
Yeah, I mean, you know, by that point in time, you know, Kid and Play is just like everywhere, like super hot. I think we're probably I think we were still just after the first house party, and we got approached by Saban Entertainment. These are the same people that did the Power Rangers.
Okay.
And they approached us and said, "Hey, man, you know, we think we'd like to do an animated project with you, and you know, we do these things. We'll have you at the beginning, live action. We do these wraparounds, you know, talk." And we were Play and I were thrilled. I mean, because you know, we were kids growing up watching cartoons and stuff like that. And at that point, there had never been a hip hop group or act or rapper or anything that had a cartoon series before. I mean, in terms of a black themed one, I mean, you might have had to go all the way back to the Jacksons, the Jackson 5, you know, something like that. But there hadn't been a lot of them. So that was one of the things that we really, really were excited about. And we got up in there and, you know, tried to help with the production of it. We worked with a great lady whose name you probably know from a bunch of other great projects, Suzanne DePass. Suzanne DePass from Motown that, you know, did all the work, Berry Gordy and the Temptations and the Jacksons movie and all these, all these great projects that she did. You know, we worked with her for many, many years. So she executive produced it. We had some of our rapper friends like Kumo D and MC Light will come and do the live action with us to, you know, you start and end with kind of a theme, try to get a kid something, you know, this is the lesson we're going to try to teach today. And then here comes the cartoon. And, you know, we were only on for one season, but it was something that was really, really exciting to us and very satisfying. And then behind that, that's when Marvel came to us and said, "Hey, man, we want to do a comic book, you know, first hip hoppers with a comic book." And we were like, of course. And like I said, Play's background is very artistic and, you know, great artist and, you know, drawing stuff when we were kids. And so, you know, that was definitely up his wheelhouse. And we were able to do that. And that we had some great issues. And, you know, like I said, a lot of the path and the journey was uncharted back then. So, you know, we were going with our gut. You know, we had a great team back then. With some good instincts, you know, Herbie put some good people in place, and we all spoke together. We all respected one another's opinion, and you know, if somebody felt like really, really strongly that we should either do something or not do something, you know, that we would kind of let that go and be like, all right, man, you know, you want to rock it this way, you know, be sure if it went wrong, you was gonna hear about it, but you know, we wanted everybody to have an opportunity to kind of speak their mind and give their opinion, you know, because we all had like different superpowers. We didn't all do the same thing, but when we came together, we formed a great team.
Yeah, I'm definitely.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Q. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, did you guys ever feel like? Because I know you guys, you from an urban, you know, area. You know, you're not as clean cut as what they tried to make y'all out to be, but. You know, did you ever feel like it was too much? You know what I mean? The cartoon, the comic book. Did you ever have that kind of like?
Well,
yeah,
I will say this. I mean, only in terms of, I think that's why I think it's important that you have to consider everything that comes your way very carefully. You know, there's some things that we were going to do like that was like no brainer, like stuff we had never dreamed of. You know what I mean? Like when they came with the cartoon, we like, oh, we're doing that. You know what I'm saying? We doing that. And they had a commitment on NBC, you know. I was like, oh, we doing that. Marvel comic book. Oh no, we doing that. We doing that. There's other things that came across the desk that we were just like, nah, that's corny. And we ended up doing a lot of different things. And what I think ends up happening is, look, you can make bad choices and that kind of takes you into an area you didn't intend to be. Or I think one of the things that may have happened with us going into like the mid 90s was just like, you know, kid and play fatigue, you know, like, you know, man, like, all right, man, I've been, you know what I mean? I'm like 6-7 years of these motherfuckers, man. Like, I get it, you know? So, I think you have to be careful about that sometimes. So I don't think we picked, bad projects on a consistent basis. I mean, there's always a clunker in there here or there. I just think sometimes it was, you know, the game was changing, the gangster rap was getting real strong, and we were like, you know, groups like us and Kwame, we're just the antithesis of that. And so sometimes you just got to step aside and let hip hop, you know, regulate itself and you know, find something, go off and do something else. You know what I mean? For a minute.
Right.
So
Okay.
I think that's one may happen. But there were some great opportunities. We had a toy deal at Mattel that was getting ready to go through, but when they didn't renew the cartoon, then Mattel kind of stepped away. So you know, a lot of things with a lot of moving different parts and stuff. But yeah, we were the first to do a lot of things, and particularly at that time, you know how hip hop is. You know, I know Hammer's a good friend of ours, and Hammer went through the same thing at that time as well. You know what I mean? When you're the first to blaze some of these trails, cats are quick to call you a sellout. So we heard sellout, 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 sellout. And I know Hammer heard it too. You know what I'm saying? And I think that has to do with fatigue and you know, throw a little hateration in there as well. But I think we always tried to make sound decisions at the time. And I think we made a lot of sound decisions. Like I said, a couple of clunkers. This is what people don't understand. If you're in the business for 20, 25, 30 years, you will have had to have made some mistakes. You know, things you wish you hadn't done, projects you wish you hadn't done, you know what I'm saying? Over the course of 25, 30 years, I don't know anybody who hasn't, you know, made mistakes of some kind. You know, the key is to always make, you know, a better good choices than bad choices. And that means keeping a, you know, cool squad around you. And, you know, one of the luxuries that Play and I had, you know, when we're doing stuff together is that we have one another to kind of bounce stuff off of. And when it's either one of our field of expertise, we will defer to the other one, and you know, in the hopes of, you know, coming to the right conclusion. So, you know, that's how it is. I mean, I don't know that you know, I don't know that I've always wanted to make the decision. A lot of times, if you're in a group or if you're in a duo in particular, you know, more than two gets dicey. But if it's you and your mans, you're always supposed to be able to come to an agreement. You know, something that you both can agree to. It's like, all right. So we're gonna do this. All right. This is what we're gonna do. Right. Okay. Boom. And you ride it out. You don't second guess it in the public or anything like that. We like, you give 100%. If it works out, fine. You know, if it doesn't, you know, take the L, keep it moving.
It's interesting that you said it's interesting that you said doesn't, because you got a lot of folks in here talking about House Party 4, bro.
Oh, I never made House Party 4.
I know, but they're asking. They're actually
right.
asking.
Oh no, we were offered House Party 4. Yeah, we were offered. Believe it, you'll love this. We were offered House Party 4, and so they called us in, and I don't, you know. First of all, Play and I were you know, kind of itching to do different things anyway, like individually. You know, not like there was any beef or anything like that, but you could always tell. You was just like, you know what, we both felt like we were kind of getting the itch to kind of do some separate things. But they called us in. They said, "Yo, man, we got House Party 4, blah blah blah," and we get in there to have a meeting with them, and come to find out, Andre Harrell, the late great Andre Harrell, had been hired to produce the movie at this point in time. So, you know, we're in there, we have a meeting, Andre's there, you know, we're there, I think our manager was there, the New Line people were there. And to be honest, the way they kind of ran it down, like what they were thinking about doing, it just didn't it didn't grab us. You know, we kind of felt like we were kind of being they were being dismissive of us. You know what I mean? Like, you know, we were feeling some kind of way, you know, man, I built this city, you know what I mean? Type stuff. So they would, you know, and I love Andre, and I knew Andre for a long time. I went to college with Andre back in the days. He was a few years older than me, and I respected him, but I didn't dig his vibe on, you know, how they were gonna treat us, and so we declined. You know, we were like, nah, I'm not down. We're not down. You know, and I will say this. Sometimes, if there are any mistakes that were made over the years, sometimes it's mistakes like that because you start to feel some kind of way. You start to get in your feelings when you need to always try to keep the business first and foremost, right? So we politely declined, and then I guess they went on to begin shooting the movie. and I don't know if it's going well or it's not going right or whatever. But I get a call from my manager, and he says, "Yo, they want you and Play to come do a week on the set. They need you for a week. You know, they'll pay you 100 G's for a week each. Whoop-de-whoop." And look, I wasn't at that standpoint where, you know, like 100 G's ain't nothing, especially for a week. You know what I mean? I could have did it standing on my head. But once again, I don't know. I started to think a little too much, and I was like, you know what? I know what these guys are gonna do. They thought they could do the movie without us. They obviously hit a bump. Now they want to get us in there, have a shoot for a week, and then slice us all up in the movie, so our fans think it's a typical Kid and Play movie, which is not. You know, they had already shifted the focus to immature. That's what they wanted to do. So I said, "Oh, y'all gonna slice and dice it? My fans gonna come there thinking that it's the, you know, what they've come to expect, and then we gonna, you know what I'm saying? We gonna take the L." So we turned that down. We were like, "Nah, man, you know, go ahead, go finish with your, you know, thing." And then that's, to your point, Q. That's how you end up with House Party 4. You know what I'm saying? With not a hint of Kid and Play in there, not a whiff.
We got another question, OG. So because they keep asking, which movie was your favorite between Class Act and House Party?
You know, to me, there's nothing like, you know, to use an analogy, man. You know, it's nothing like your first one. You know, there's nothing like your first kiss, your first girlfriend, and you know, House Party for a lot of us was our first movie, and we had so much fun doing it. And you know, we made these incredible friendships. We started to learn about the business. It changed all of our lives. There's not one person that was in that movie that didn't get a positive uptick in their life and career. So I'm always partial to House Party because, and when you watch it now, you know, especially now these days, they seem to show it over and over and over again, which is great. Shout out to my accountant. But those movies, they hold up. I mean, Reggie Hudlin wrote a awesome script, directed the fuck out of it, and it holds up to this day. And so yeah, I'd go for House Party. Although I do like Class Act, and over the years, Class Act as a movie has aged pretty well. So
yeah, that's
shout out to Class Act.
That's a fact.
So
Can I ask a question real quick?
Yeah,
sir.
Hurry up, because you know BX been acing at the.
I just want to ask a question because I ain't gonna lie, man.
He ready to take me to the cipher.
Hey.
Look, check me out. I'm gonna check me out. Look, I'm wondering, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if you feel like you want to answer, but I want to know, how old are you? Because I'm 40. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah,
and I still remember. Yeah, so I remember when I was in the front yard with me and the friends from the neighborhood, and we sitting there making up dance moves, you know what I'm saying, doing the Kid and Play and everything, talking about we about to be on Star Search. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about back then. You know what I'm saying? So I know I'm grown, so I'm just wondering, how old are you? You know what I'm saying?
Star Search, man. You went back in, you digging in the crates.
I'm telling you.
Yeah. Well, I had a birthday. I had a birthday in April, and that's when I turned 56. I'm 56.
Oh wow. Okay.
You know.
Word.
You know,
Yeah.
in my family, we have an expression: even the half black don't crack.
Word.
So,
That's what's up, man.
you know, it's been a long time, but you know, it's great to be here.
BX,
You know?
go ahead, man. Go ahead, BX. I know you've been itching, bro.
now I haven't been itching. I just been waiting, you know, listening to the stories. But I want to
Waiting
take
and
it all.
debating.
I want to take it all the way back. You said before you guys didn't have hip hop. You had R&B. So I wanted to know, it's like a two-part question. What were you like your parents listening to in the house, and also what sparked your interest into music and made you want to rap, and how did you discover you had the talent to rap? Because a lot of people can't rap, you know.
Right.
Yeah,
Well,
so,
you know what? I grew up with my father, and you know, by then we were living out in Queens. You know, Play lived around the corner with his family. You know, my dad was old school Jamaican, so you know, there was always you know, Caribbean music, you know, in the house. But you know, that's probably about the time, you know, when I was starting to get into hip hop, you know, right when we got to that neighborhood where Play and I grew up. And you know, prior to that, you know, we would listen to all the greats. We would listen to the Earth, Wind and Fires and the Al Greens and the you know, all these different groups and the Supremes and the Jacksons. And, you know, we were big, super Michael Jackson fans. So we listened to a lot of that stuff. And then little by little, you know, that's when we started getting into the music myself and Play. Herbie, as a young producer, you know, he would listen to, you know, he'd always want to go to your house and go through your father's records so he could find something to, you know, so he could sample or he could scratch up or whatever like that. So we were starting to experiment. I mean, you used to listen to Patti LaBelle, and we used to listen to Melba Moore, and we used to listen to Freddie Jackson and all that stuff. That's the stuff like before the hip hop started cracking. That's the stuff we, you know, listened to. We listened to a lot of Cameo. We was listening to The Time. We listened to a shitload of Prince. That was our basis. But there was something about hip hop when I discovered it, because at that time, you know, I wasn't a singer. You know, I became a singer later on, but I wasn't, you know, technically a singer at that time. So I was kind of looking for a way to kind of express myself. And, you know, I visit friends of mine up in the Bronx, and, you know, they would take me to these park jams, or they would have these cassette tapes, the, you know, so-called mixtapes. And I would listen to them. I'd listen to Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. And, you know, I fell in love with the voice of Melly Mel, who's, you know, probably one of the greatest rappers of all time, one of the greatest rap voices of all time. And it just sucked me in, man. I was just like, yo, this is for me. I said, because I can't sing, but I was pretty good with words. You know, I was like an English major. I was always good like that. I read a lot of poetry. I read a lot of Shakespeare. So I felt like I could flip some phrases I knew about, you know, rhyming couplets and sonnets and stuff like that, and haikus and all kind of stuff like that. So I started experimenting with that, and it just became a real free and easy way to kind of express myself. And I would take kind of that knowledge. I was going to high school in the Bronx too, but when I would come back to Queens, I would kind of take that Bronx flavor back to Queens and kind of drip it on, you know, the rest of the crew, drip it on the you know, the Plays and the Herbies, because they didn't leave the neighborhood a lot at that time. You know, I was in the Bronx every day, and then come back home, you're like, yo, this is the way they listen to Uptown. Yo, check this out. Here's Flash. Here's Theodore. You know, here's the Funky Four. Here's Rodney C. Here's Melly Mel. Here's Cowboy. You know, here's Sha Rock. You know, all these great rappers of those years, and the great DJs as well. So once again, it was, we didn't know it had a future. We just knew we were excited by this music. And we would have park jams out in Queens, you know, in our neighborhood. And the dudes would get in on the light pole and hook up the you know, the tech speakers and all this and that. You know what I'm saying? Bust open the hydrant. You know what I'm saying? And then you know what I'm saying? And it was on. And then, you know, if you had an opportunity and you knew the DJ, you was tight with him, he let you get up on that mic, and you know, you try to do a little something. And I remember one time, this is like it was yesterday. So back in the days, you know, cats would get on the mic, you know, they want to battle and this and that. So a lot of times cats would come, you know, from Uptown, or they would come from the Bronx, and they would come to Queens and be like, you know, y'all Queens dudes, y'all whack, man. Y'all don't know nothing about them. You know, we was just like, all right, we knew we was a little bit behind the curve, but you know what I mean? We were still trying to do our thing, right? But we were still getting some of those tapes from Uptown, and we would listen to them and kind of, you know, rate ourselves and try to better ourselves. So this dude came from Uptown. He talking about he about to battle. He gonna take all these Queens dudes out and this and that. So he get on the mic and he start rhyming, and then we were like, wait a minute. He started doing the old Kumo D rhyme back, like he thought we hadn't heard it. You know. Hold on, don't mean to be bold, but they bob bullshit on hold. We're like, no. We heard that, yo. Like, he thought we was like some rubes that we ain't heard from Uptown. Like, man, we got cousins Uptown. Don't be coming over here biting rhymes. That's a come on, BX. You know that's a stone cold sin.
That's definitely, you can't do that. You can't do that.
Like, that's the early version of you take it. You trying to take food out of my family. I never let you take food out. You know? That's when you get serious, like Jay Prince.
So So another question I have is that you guys became you and Play became a group. So where were you and how did it feel when you first heard your music on the radio, like the
Right.
very first time?
Right. Well, you know what? I think the first time we heard one of our records, it was probably like on a Friday or Saturday night, right? It was probably on either BLS or Kiss FM in New York. And I think at that point you would hear it in the mix. You know, like we weren't prominent enough yet to be like, yo, here's the Kid and Play record. You know what I mean? And that's not how they DJ'd anyway. They would just get it in and out the mix. So, you know, and we listened to it religiously anyway. And you know, I'm sure there's one night we were up and we heard the joint. We like, stop it. We like, stop it, stop it, stop it. Then you were hustling, you try to get your tape player ready, like you trying to catch a blip of it so you could prove to somebody that you heard it. But an even funnier story was when after we did our first video for Do This My Way, there was a video showing in New York we all used to watch called Video Music Box with Ralph McDaniels and Vid Kid and that's all we had. We didn't have you know what I mean? It wasn't all in video channels, like
Right.
they ended up being. So that was one of the few places that we could watch it. So I'm at home by myself and I'm watching it, like we always did, like on a Friday afternoon or something. And man, next thing you know, boom. I'm like, stop it, stop it. And there it goes, our video, first time to ever play it on any airwaves. And I don't know what to do. I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Like we didn't have cell phones back then or nothing. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to call Play, but I think I knew he was at work or something like that. So I didn't know what to do. So I just ran out the house. I ran out the house. And our neighborhood park was like about 4 or 5 blocks down. So I just kept running. I was just like, I gotta tell somebody, man. You just don't know what to do. You stop it. Stop it. And that particular video was our first, but it became really popular on the channel, and that's how we started to get like started bubbling in New York and everything, and in the city, that's the first place you have to conquer. If you ain't conquer your own city, you wasn't hot in the city.
Right.
What are we talking about? You know what I mean? So
Right.
And Do This My Way was great because it was a song and a record that DJs love to cut. You know what I mean? It was just, you know what I mean? Cat could go 2 minutes on that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and sometimes too, when you're making a record, and especially in those times when we were making records, a lot of times in the back of your mind, that was a consideration. Not maybe all in the front, but subconsciously, you just like, man, you know what? You want to make a song like, can the DJs get in and out? Does it fit the tempo? Can the DJ get in and out of it easily, even if you got to slow it up or speed it down just a little bit, not too much. And that's a consideration too. And Do This My Way was a great mix record, DJ record. Getting Funky was a great DJ record. Last Night Changed It All was a great DJ record. It was a slow record, but it had some of those great drops, like Pick Me Up and it's BMW, stuff like that. So, you have to make either pace wise or lyrically or hook wise, there has to be moments that, the DJ can grab, and thereby, he'll send it to the audience. It'll be that much more effective on the audience. If this dude keep cutting up BMW, because we threw a funky drop on that. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know what I mean? Or in that time, punchlines were funny too. We had like some funny punchlines, and DJs love to cut funny punchlines and stuff like that.
I have another question.
Yes, sir.
When you guys were coming up, where was it in the city that a lot of the upcoming rappers, like you said, Salt and Pepper, Kid and Play, and guys will go to like feed off of each other, and like just generate a lot of that creative energy?
Well, in the city, the two main places were the Latin Quarter and Union Square. Union Square that you hear, KRS-One talk about. You know what I'm saying? Those are two huge clubs, super popular, very dangerous. You know, lots of hoods in there, lots of felonies. There's a club full of felonies. But once again, it goes back to us not being scared. Like we would go to these clubs every week, and even if we weren't performing, so that was a place. And those clubs in the city were great because that's where the whole 5 boroughs came. You know what I mean? Queens coming to the city, Manhattan, them crazy dudes from Brooklyn was all up in there. That's the original. When Brooklyn's in the house, you was like, oh God, let me see where the exit is. Let me start charting my path. You know what I'm saying? You know, Staten Island, you know, they all came into the city, so it made for a nice melting pot. So to your point, that's how we could get a gauge on what was going on citywide. What were the new dances? What were these cats from Brooklyn? You know, what was the DJ from Brooklyn playing? What were these Bronx cats dancing to? You know, you could check it. Like, oh, okay, here go these girls from Queens. All right, bet. You know, it was a great melting pot of felonies.
I do got another question. First of all, shout out to everybody on YouTube, man. We didn't get to shout out to everybody first of all, so appreciate everybody coming through so far. You know, on Instagram, that came through that's on YouTube right now and on Facebook. We got a Facebook question. Shout out to D. He said, do y'all plan on producing any future projects as far as you and Play?
You know, it's a possibility. You know, I'm thinking. You know, I don't know if we've got like a whole Kid and Play, you know, entire Kid and Play record album together. But I mean, I think we could do, you know, like a meaningful joint for, you know, maybe a couple joints for a particular situation or project or something like that. You know. You know, play has kind of moved away from the music in that regard, you know, and I'm still, you know, I'm still an old hip hop head. You know, play them went back and retreated to Barry Whiteville. You know what I'm saying? So he like all that old stuff. But I, you know, and which I do too. But I always kind of keep my ear to the streets for kind of what young cats are doing, and also too working with friends of mine. We did a project over a year ago. We're still trying to make it work and see if it can come out. I was working with CL Smooth. CL Smooth wasn't doing joints with Pete at that particular time, so he and I and another great producer out of Houston, a guy named The Key. We did a bunch of joints on CL and kind of material that you wouldn't necessarily expect from him. You know what I mean? I mean, people know him as a great rapper, like on the boom bap tip. But you know, we did a bunch of the really cool, different kind of records that you wouldn't expect from him. So I'm hopeful we'll get some of those joints out too. So, and I always, like I said, I always kind of keep my eye out, my ears out. If I could tell you a funny story real quick, because a lot of times the young cats, they'll hit me up and they'll be like, yo, kid, you know what I mean? You want to jump on this, man? You get a hot, you know what I mean? Let me, you know, jump on, give me a hot 16 or whatever like that. You know, a lot of times I'll be like, all right, man, send me the beat, we'll peep it out. Let's see, see what's going on, whatever. So then one time this kid hit me up online and he was like, yo, man, me and my homeboy, man, we got a group and we just did a joint. It's called Kid and Play. And I wanted to
go with this.
I wanted to send it to you. I want you to listen to it, see if you want to jump on it. Maybe you and Play want to jump on it. And I was like, all right, dude, send me the joint, man. I'll peep it out. So he emailed me the joint, and I pull it up. I'm at the crib chilling. I pull it up, and he's bumping. All right, it's him and his man, him and his boy. They're going back and forth, whatever like that. Get a little place to it. So I was like, oh, this cat's all right. They spitting, they're going back and forth like some young 20-somethings or whatever. Put it down. Actually, they sound like late teens or whatever like that. They was young. So then boom, and they hitting it, and then they finally get to the hook, and the hook was I peeped the hook, and the hook was like, understand what you say, understand in every way, understand each and every day. We tag team bitches, that's that Kid and Play, Kid and Play, Kid and Play. We tag team bitches, that's that Kid and Play. I'm like, whoa,
Hell no.
whoa. my man.
Oh,
I was like, my niggas, what are you? What?
Wow.
Feel like we're not doing that.
I said, is that what Kid and Play means to y'all?
Apparently.
So I said, so let me get this straight. So when you and your mans have sex with the same girl, they call it Kid and Play.
Oh, tragic.
I'm like, bruh. I was like, first of all, you ain't never gonna get play on this joint in a million years. All right, that's a done deal. He'd rather slit his throat. Okay, so that's out. And it's too frisky for me. Like I'm the wild one now, but I'm like, come on, y'all. I was like, stop it.
that's crazy.
We tag team bitches. That's what it is. I'm like, no. Stop it. Stop it.
Wow.
That's
Stop
crazy.
it.
Hey,
I still got the record. You gonna make me look for that record? I'm gonna look for that record. I ain't heard it in a couple of years, but I'll never forget it. I'll never forget it.
OG emailed me that record, bro.
Oh my God, you ain't gonna believe this, boy. It'll change your life, boy. It'll change your life.
Crazy.
And I played it for Play too, and he just looked at me like,
oh, I know he did.
what are you wasting my time for? Like,
Hey,
I know. I just wanted to see your face.
One question going into that, because somebody did ask that. Sorry if we ain't getting to everybody's questions too, y'all. We trying to get to everybody's questions, but another question on YouTube was, are you still doing stand-up?
Yeah, sure,
Right, okay.
sure. And I'm once again, I was doing that right up to the point where we where the pandemic started. I was actually in Vegas, downtown, like late February, like February 29th. That was probably like my last stand-up gig. And yeah, but you know, everything shut down right now, you know.
Yeah,
so people are trying to get creative, and you know, I think we are too. You know, this is a really kind of trying time where you have to try to be your utmost and ultra creative to try to figure out, you know, where you fit in this new landscape. And look, even if things, you know, get infinitely better, you just have to realize and feel that moving forward, it's never going to quite be the same. You know what I'm saying? People have learned to kind of adapt so that even when we're back, you know, we're back at square one or whatever, or some semblance of normalcy, we're not going to operate the same way we did before. You know, I think there's going to be a lot of changes moving forward. So, you know, I think it's difficult to anticipate, but it's not going to come back exactly the way it left. It just isn't. But yeah, no, I enjoyed I enjoyed doing stand-up. We have a great time doing that. My homeboy Tommy Davidson got me into that years ago, and you know, I look forward to getting back up and doing it at some point. So
that's dope.
Right. Until now, you know, this is gonna have to do tag team bitches. that's gonna be my new closer.
Hey, the homie Hop, shout out to Hop Dog 18. He had asked. He said, "Who wrote the best raps between himself, meaning Kid, and Play?" But Kid, you like you said though. You said you
I wrote the whole thing.
Yeah,
I wrote his rhymes and my rhymes.
Oh, all right.
You know, yeah. You know, that's what it called for. And like I said, Play and I have a relationship where we trust one another in whatever our field of expertise is. You know what I'm saying? I always took the lead on the music. That's where my mindset was at. And to the point where I know, and had been performing with Play so long, like I know how to write for Play. Like I know how you know how he's gonna sound the best, the words and the phrasing, and you know what I mean. So and he trusts me to put him in a good position. It's not, you know, I really get to it. It's not like he don't change nothing or whatever like that. But you know, you gotta give him I give him the framework. I give him the lyrics, and you know, Herbie taught us a lot about how to get a certain performance. You know, Herbie taught us that. And if you go back and listen to a lot of Salt and Pepper records, when you hear them, they're not merely just rapping. Like you hear all the emotion. You know, you know what I mean? Like it wasn't good. And Herbie was very precise about that. He would have you do it like 50 times over if you didn't get the right inflection. Because he didn't always want you rhyming like a zuka, 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 zuka. You know, he wanted rhyming, you know, they're ladies, you know, their thing, you know, and we're guys with personality. So, he would insist on, no, you got to do it. You got to do it with some flair. You got to do it with a little bit of twist on it. So, like I said, we always trusted each other musically. So, yeah. So the director gave me, he gave me the blueprint. He said, look, you guys are gonna battle. Play is gonna win early, and Kid, you bust him at the end.
Right.
So I'm like, all right. So that's how I do it. So if you look, Play's first 2 rhymes, he's killing me.
Yeah.
His first rhyme, he smacks me. Then I come back a little something. Then his second rhyme, he just blazes me.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then I come back with the grand slam in the bottom of the ninth, and I just I electrocute him. You know what I'm saying? So that's
Go
you
ahead.
talking about the bars I spit for you backstage?
You got some of that Dylon hot fire?
that Dylon.
That too late I blew it up. That too late I blew it up. Huh? All right.
Yeah.
Oh no, that was. Come on now, you got to give it to me for that one. That's a cold.
Oh, that's a fact.
That's the one. That one. The coldest rhymes. The coldest lines in that battle is step to the stage. Too late. I blew it up. And you didn't play. You just got played out.
Right.
Or KID.
Those 2 lines. Kid spelled backwards describes you best. Yeah.
Right. Hey, when I heard that, I had to really what? I was like, oh.
Yeah. That's that English major. Shakespeare came in handy. Yeah, no, but I like to like I said, I was an English major, so I like to kind of twist the words a little bit. And look, I knew we wasn't, look, we were no Cool G Rap, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's my homeboy, but you weren't going to have us up there rhyming like Cool G Rap or Rakim or Kane or some of our other friends. But if you was paying attention, you would say like, oh, okay, they flip a couple of flipping little phrases up in there. You know what I mean? So that's cool. And particularly when people like you guys recognize that, and when some of my peers, sometimes some of you wouldn't realize, they like, yo man, I know what you did on that record. I saw what you did. So it's nice to always have the respect of your peers, because I'm a huge fan of all our colleagues, and the new rappers as well. Hey, can I do I have time for a funny Drake story?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, so this is a funny story. So I guess every year, but this year, Drake has that Houston Appreciation Weekend down in Houston every year, because he came up from there and everything. So we were there like 3-4 years ago. We were down there that summer. Matter of fact, we were doing records on CL Smooth, and we were recording all these songs at Jay Prince's studio. He has a studio there in like I want to say Third Ward.
Yeah.
So we're there, and so I was there for like over a month. So during that time, they're having the Houston Appreciation Weekend. So we go, and we're down with Jay Prince. So we are all we come with him. They're 200 deep. We're just like, all right. We know Jay for a really long time, and he's always shown us, excuse me, a lot of love. So we're all in there, and I got another buddy of mine, a cat named Leslie Wyatt. And he was an old one of my colleagues, but he comes from the Rap-A-Lot camps. He comes from Jay Prince and all that, and he always showed me around when I'm in Houston. So we're at the party, he and I are at the party, and we're in the VIP, we're chilling, having a great time. It's packed out, it's Houston Appreciation Weekend, blah, 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 all these performances. And excuse me, we're backstage, and then we see Drake backstage. And I think I had met him briefly at that point, like out in LA. It was like like a flyby or whatever like that. So my man Leslie, he's Houston, he hella country, right? He's just like, hey man, you want to go take a picture with Drake, man? I was like, yeah, man, let's go take a picture with Drake. So we go over there, and it was the 3 of us. It was Drake, me, and my friend Leslie. The 3 of us took a picture. Boom. Cool picture, whatever. We go on about our business. And I think I posted it probably the next day. Say, yo, man, we down here, Houston Appreciation. Me, Dre, Les, woo. No problem. So I don't know what got into me. Like, it was, we talked about mistakes over a long career. You know what I'm saying? Like this was one of them, because one day I woke up and I said, you know what? I'm gonna post this picture again. But I cut my homeboy out the picture. and my homeboy like real dark skinned. You know what I'm saying? So I cut him. I cut him right out the picture. So it's just me and Drake, and it almost looks like we're kind of leaning our heads up against each other like this, like two beige motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? And I posted this shit, and I knew I felt bad when I did it, but I did it anyway, right? I did it. Man, I get a phone call from my homeboy. He's like, man, why you do your boy like that, man? How you gonna do me like that, man? You wouldn't even have the picture if it wasn't for me, man. Why you do your boy like that, man? You know what I mean? And I felt so bad. I was like, yeah, I know. I don't know. I had a beige moment. I don't know.
Man, is Molly Ma still in the chat? That's some light skin alliance stuff right there.
I'm telling you.
Hey, slow down. Slow down.
I'll never forget. He was like, man, how you do that to your boy, man? Come on, man. This your boy Les. You don't do me like that, man. I know Jay. No, don't do me like that, man. But yeah, you know, sometimes you bump your head. So that was it was not a shining moment. Not a shining moment.
Going back to House Party, you guys, that movie has some crazy legends in it. I'm reading Martin Lawrence, Robin Harris, Tisha Campbell, Daryl Mitchell, Adrian Joy Johnson, and John Witherspoon, just to name a few. Like, how was it on set with all those people at that time? I know it had to be jokes all day.
Oh my God, the laughs galore. And like I said, for a lot of us, it was our first movie, first film, first any kind of production. You know what I'm saying? You know, other than a music video or something. So we just loved being around each other. And a lot of times, even when you weren't shooting a scene, you would hang out on set. You know, hang out on the set, hang out by the caterer, hang out by somebody's trailer. Excuse me. We spent so much time with each other. And I think that those part of the bonds that we share to this day. Like, you know, you see somebody, you know, it's like a high school reunion when we kind of run up on each other. But yeah, it was hysterical. I mean, and of course, you know, Robin Harris is there. When he come around, everybody got a duck because he gonna cut everybody up. Wait, can I tell you a funny Robin Harris story?
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about that. Go ahead.
All right, let me tell you, this is a funny Robin Harris story. So, you know, obviously he played my father. So he and I had a lot of scenes together, and we spent a lot of time together. And a lot of off time, you know, while you're waiting to things to get set up, you know, they say hurry up and wait. And so he and I, you know, we're really starting to get to know each other and share things. And, you know, he was older than us, so we all kind of looked to him for guidance, and he was always there to kind of, you know, give us some good advice or, you know, or a good natured, you know, diss or whatever like that. Cause he was always looking out for all of us. So he tells me a story. He says, man, let me tell you this story. He said, man, I was dating this girl. And she wanted me to come over and meet her parents. They were having dinner. And so, you know, I'm nervous. I'm like, man, I don't know. She says, man, come over, meet my parents. It'll be cool. They're gonna make dinner. I want them to get to know you, and it's all good. So he says, all right. So he says, I gotta go over there. And they have dinner. Everything's fine. No problem. Everything's going smooth. Everything's chill. Dessert comes out. I think the mother baked some apple pie, you know, so she come out with the pie, and the pie is delicious, and you know, they're doing it, they're eating dessert and whatnot. And so there's one slice of pie left. And so the father says, hey, Robin, go get, man, have this slice of pie, man, this last slice of pie. And Robin's like, no, sir, I'm cool. I'm full. Thank you. No, thank you. He says, man, go on, have that last piece of pie. Why don't you, man? Come on, man. Mama done cooked it, man. Wasn't it good? Yeah, I know, but I man, go on and have that pie. Robin, stop it. Last piece of pie, go on and have that pie. Don't insult Mama like that. Go on and get that pie. And then finally, Robin says, yo, man, you know what? Thank you, sir. I will have that pie. Thank you. So then finishes the last slice of pie, and everything's cool. So it's after dinner, and the parents are in the kitchen washing the dishes. And he's out in front with his girl. He's got to go to the bathroom. So in order to go to the bathroom, he's got to walk by the kitchen. And as he walks by the kitchen, he hears the father tell the mother, "Can you believe that nigga ate the last slice of pie? Can you believe that nigga ate the last slice of pie?"
I was busted on him at that point.
He said, "Man,
I can actually hear him saying that in my head.
Yeah, he said, I can't win for losing, man." He said, he tried to refuse the pie. The bread, he just shoved the pie at him, man. He took the pie. He said, "You believe this nigga ate the last slice of pie?"
God damn it.
So this is the type of stuff, to your point, like what was going on set wise. You know what I'm saying? It was so much fun. I mean, you imagine you got Robin Harris, you got Witherspoon. You got Full Force playing pranks on everybody. That was their thing. And Martin is there doing his thing, up and comer. So no, it was a great time. We were having so much fun. We didn't realize how much we weren't getting paid. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, AJ Johnson didn't even have no lines. But just Robin Harris talking about some flow the drip, like that's classic.
Oh yeah, but I'm saying, but her presence, Tisha's presence, a lot of times, look, and I've been an actor like this over the years too. A lot of times, you don't have to have the most words in the scene or words at all to have an impact on the scene, or to have people's eyes drawn to you. You know what I mean? AJ was great at that. Like, you can't take your eyes off as soon as she step in the party, as soon as she step in the room. Her energy and I'm not just her obvious good looks, but just her energy commands you to pay attention. And so we had people like that, and it was all good. My man was in there. Follow the drip, that's easy from right. From on Friday, right?
It kind of came full circle.
His name was AJ too.
It was even the boy from in Boys in the Hood, right? They had the little boy from Boys in the Hood in there too, right?
Is he?
If I'm not mistaken. With the Kool-Aid.
You might be right. Oh, with the Kool-Aid. Yeah. And the Kool-Aid, yeah.
With all the sugar. With all the sugar in it.
Yeah, with the sugar.
Stop
it also came full circle because like, how was it when you got the script for Martin, when you had to play that part with Martin and the Shanae part, the Shanae episode?
Well, I'll tell you how that came apart. I mean, I knew that script was coming because Martin and I had already discussed it. Like a few weeks earlier, when Martin first did the pilot for the Martin show, I wasn't even living in LA at the time. I was staying at a hotel here in West Hollywood, and he came by my hotel. He wanted to show me the tape of his pilot. I hadn't seen it, so he came over, and it was him and this writer producer. Ended up being a big time producer named Bentley Kyle Evans. He's done a lot of, look him up. He's done a lot of different television shows over the years. So he came over with Martin, and we watched the video of his first pilot episode, and it was awesome. It was dope. It was funny, and I'm like, "Yo, this is dope, man. You good?" You know what I'm saying? And Martin asked me. He said, "Yo, why don't you be on an episode with me, man? Would you be on an episode with me?" And I was like, yeah. I said, but let's figure out what we're gonna do. So we're in the room and we're just starting to kind of figure out like what would we do. So we're watching the original version and we're watching it, and I was just like, I said, we both came to the conclusion like, what if I'm coming in as myself, I'm Kid, but we do like a celebrity date with Shanae. So I come in as a friend of Martin the DJ, but somehow I end up with Shanae. And like, all right. So it started to come together. And little did I know, Bentley Evans is in the corner writing all of this stuff down. You taking copious notes. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But Martin and I are on our feet in my hotel, and we're just kind of working out the things. And we like, yeah, what if they danced or whatever? But what happened is, at that particular time, one of the hottest records out at that time was Forever My Lady.
Yeah.
And so, once again, the rapping and the hip hop vibe comes into play because, as a rapper, I was just like, that's not a far stretch. Forever My Lady, Forever Shanae. So I said it out. I said it out loud. I said it out loud in the room. You know what I'm saying? Like, what if Forever Shanae? is like a dream. And playing, excuse me, and Martin and I are dancing in the middle of the hotel room. You know what I'm saying? And Bentley's writing it down and all that. And I went back to New York, and 2 weeks later, I got a script in my door, and it said "Forever Shanae" on the cover.
I'm almost that like less funny to you because you kind of conceptualize that. Because in my mind, before you just told me that you had something to do with that, I was gonna be like what was your reaction when you heard "Forever Shanae"? That's what I was gonna ask.
I wrote that. No, what are you talking? That was my idea. It was my knowing how a rapper's mind works. That was an easy. That was we do freestyle like that all the time. Like you know what I'm saying. Shanae rhymes with for my lady, mama day, mama say day, Ziggler baby, Jiggy Swayze. That wasn't a far stretch. So Forever My Lady was easy to go to Forever Shanae.
So it was easy for you not to like bust out laughing in that moment.
No, it was very difficult. No, we had to reshoot
because that's the classic moment of that episode. Like
no, we had to shoot it a gang of times over because I mean either I'm laughing or he's laughing or the people on the side is laughing. The dude dropping the mic in the shot like hey cut. So it was, but once again that was fun. I mean. That was a problem on a house party too. I mean, a lot of times we had to shoot scenes over with Robin because he got everybody laughing, and you're not supposed to laugh in the scene. You know what I'm saying? So, but those are good problems to have.
That was a classic episode right there. One of the classics from Martin.
No question. And I think, look, once again, we knew, when that episode first came out, it was super hot. But there's no way I thought that it'd be one of the hottest to this day, one of his classic episodes, and he has so many of them, Right. But that one seems to have stood the test of time as well.
The best line of that episode was at the end when Shanae said, "Kid, can you kiss me like you kissed that light-skinned girl in the house party?"
Yeah. And that sounds like something Martin would have wrote. You know what I mean? That sounds something like that's something that he would have freestyled. You know what I mean? Or just put his twist on it. You know what I mean? But that's what it is when you working. Once again, he could trust me, I could trust him. A lot of times we could go off script a little bit and test one another and see if we could keep amping it up and keep taking it to another level.
Hey. So Shanae was dead ass though. She wanted that kiss.
Oh my God. I'm trying to tell you, all these years I'll be trying to tell you, I did not kiss that man. I felt his butt, but I didn't kiss him.
So another question I have for you, a lot of us on this panel right now, we're sneaker enthusiasts,
Right.
Coming up in the music industry, the rap game or whatever, during the height of Michael Jordan's era, like, were you guys just all Jordans all the time, or you had to get the Jordans when they came out and things like that?
No, we like those threes in particular. You know what I mean? Because it was definitely, I think I'm sure it was probably Play's idea, to get them in the first place. A lot of times we would get, the same kicks, but like different colors. Sometimes we rock the same thing, like the front of the album cover. We got the Cortez on because that's on the black and white tip. Boom. I'm sure that was Play's idea. But we wasn't copping Jordans like that too. It wasn't. And then after a while, once we started hitting, we didn't have to worry about Jordans or any sneakers at all. Like you just come home and there'd be a huge box from Nike. Whatever the latest thing was. You know what I mean? It could be Robinsons or Barclays or Maxes, what have you. But we also switched it up too. We always was rocking shell toes. You know what I mean? Different flavors, type stuff. And then we'd always try to do some obscure stuff sometimes. Once again, going back to that when we were coming up, somebody don't got. Like the main thing, especially when if you could have some kicks on that nobody else got or very few people have, now that's a thing. Now you winning. That's a thing. I had a homeboy of mine. He was this white cat. He used to design sneakers for Adidas, and he would design all these different sneakers. And what happened was I got little feet, like I'm a 9, which is a sample size, which is when you make that prototype pair, they always make them in a 9. So what happens is they don't mass produce every sneaker. So a lot of times what happens is I will go to the warehouse to go see my friend, and he'd be like, yo, these sneakers that we're never gonna mass produce these. So I was like, that's what I want. And they're all in 9s. You know, they're all in my size, they're all sample size. So I used to get a gang of stuff that nobody ever had. And I never forget one time we were hosting not hosting, we were Salt, Pepper, and I were presenting an award at the Source Awards. You know, that the same Source Awards where Tupac bum rushed the Q-Tips and them off the stage and all. Same one with all that drama going on. Remember when matter of fact, we gave out the award to Outkast. Remember when they came up and said, South got something to say. Yeah, go back and watch that video. That's Salt and Pepper and myself giving them that award. So anyway, my point is that night I had some green suede Adidas, green suede with a blue stripe. And I had the lime green, by the way. Lime green with the blue stripe. I got the baggy shorts. I got the lime, the lime polo, and I'm killing it because I know nobody in the world got these sneakers. Nobody. And I'm walking around the Source Awards like, yeah, So it was stuff like that. So would we cop some Jordans if they were like really, all over the place? I mean, and particularly after we had access to them for free. Yeah, we would, but we would kind of go outside the box and get those obscure joints, so we could say like, just as say you ain't up on this.
You ain't up on this.
Facts.
Hey, shout out to BAA. This question was, did y'all ever get approached by any sneaker companies for a collaboration? I mean, y'all got approached to do everything else from as far as comic book movies, different things like that.
You know what? We never did, and I don't think other than Run DMC, I don't think rappers were really doing it like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. I wish we had, and I mean, who knows? I think, to be honest, we're known so much for our footwork. You could do a Kid and Play collabo right now.
That's the truth. Yep.
So, we come on, rep. You know what I'm saying? put it out in the universe. No, to be honest, I've thought about that, and particularly you could bring back a retro line and call it, on some Kid and Play, like the joints we used to, I don't know, it could be a Fila joint or an Adidas or whatever. But yeah, it's definitely been thought about, but it wasn't that much in the public domain as much back then. Now, wait, hold up. Since I got these hands like this, right? Right, like this. right,
boy,
right, yeah. My girl got me these, so I gotta keep up. You know what I'm saying? Well, hold on. How about this one? Hold on. You like these? These is a stained glass.
I saw you wore those the other day.
Okay.
Yeah.
You got some kicks over there. I'll see you.
Over there.
Them stained glass dunks. Look, and they're different. They're not even the same.
Yo.
You got some heat over there.
Yeah, you heard what he said though, right? They both different. That's how y'all. Hey.
Yeah, they both different. Wait.
He ain't fake sneakerhead over there.
Wait. And last but not least, you got to go back to the old school and hit him with the
British
hey, BAA about to go crazy.
I know BAA
with the Laker colors. Stop it! Come on, some BK Dinosaurs. Stop it!
Kid ain't gonna battle though.
I don't have nearly as many sneakers as I used to, but because they don't really need them. But I like
3 rounds. 3 rounds.
That was 3 rounds right there. Just put out 3 bangers.
Yeah, I figured they would show some difference, some thing. The Travis was like, this is today. The stained glass is some unique shit, and then the BKs is because I'm old.
Yeah.
Right.
No, that was a serious flex.
Yeah, that's what's up. But I tell you what, I have to compliment y'all on, particularly on your IG. You always got some fresh stuff, and it you know, that type of stuff I like to watch. It inspires me. You know, they got lots of you know, where I live out here in LA, they got all the, well, before they stole, before they broke into, before they killed Flight Club out here.
Man.
But we used to. I lived around the corner from Flight Club. Used to go to Undefeated all the time, and you know,
Soul Stage.
I was right off. Yeah, I was right off Fairfax. Now I'm a little bit further into West Hollywood. But yeah, I like you know, I just don't need as many of them as I used to, but I can appreciate a good sneaker. And then the classic ones too, man. You gotta have a fresh pair of Vans. You gotta have a fresh pair of shell toes. You gotta, you know, there's certain staples I think you need to have that can go with anything. You know what I'm saying? Like I wear them patent leather Jordans with a suit, you know, and be like, what? You know, or one of the things we started doing years ago, yeah, like 10 years ago, we was walking around with suits and Chucks. You know what I mean? And people were like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Stop it." You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't. If you love it, it's great. If you hate it, it's even greater. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, this is what I'm doing. This is what we doing.
Right.
So, you know, and you want to always keep your instinct like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know how it is. You develop hopefully you've been doing it long enough, and you have, you know, a fair sense of style. You can trust your instinct. Like, I know what's going to go with this. I know what's going to go with that. Blah blah blah, and then also be able to say, you know, if you try it and it don't work, be like, nah, that was a bad idea.
Do you think JD was trying to copy your style when he came out?
No, was he? No, well,
with Chris Cross.
Oh, with Chris Cross, yeah. Well, one of the things that Jermaine, who I've known forever, one of the things he said, and Chris Cross said it too when we first met them. They used to hang out in the mall together, and that's where Jermaine found him. And Jermaine came up to him and said, "Yo, y'all look like a little ass Kid and Play," and that was kind of the basis off it. I mean, you know, one light, one dark. You know what I mean? Like energetic, dancing and moving around. You know, clean cut, so to speak. You know, not too. You know what I mean? Got a whole crossover appeal, but don't look like they trying. You know, unique style with the backward stuff.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I'm sure JD is brilliant, but I've known him for a long time. But yeah, you could see there's something in that of that.
Similarities are there.
Yeah, but that's awesome, man. That's awesome. That's you know, I mean, we were inspired. You know, when we were coming up, we wanted to be Houdini. You know, yeah, we wanted to be Houdini because Houdini was one of them groups. They had all these bangers, right? They were crushing New York. You know, Jalil had that smooth style, kind of like Play. Ecstasy had the great voice, and he was the more lyrical of the two. That's, you know, kind of we used to look at them and be like, yo, we want to be those guys because the beats were so banging that the guys was down with it because they was hitting bangers and the beats was hard. But the girls wanted them. The girls wanted to be with them. So, you know, you wanted to find that balance where the girls wanted to, you know what I mean? Like the girls like you, the dudes want to be like you. That's that golden area you were trying to find. And we felt Houdini definitely had it. So we were like, we want to be like them. So if them youngins wanted to be like us, that's cool. They did they had a hell of a run, man. Shoot.
How far off was Play's character in Class Act from his real life, him in real life, like Blake Brown from Play?
It wasn't far off at all, and that was kind of funny when we got that script. It was kind of weird because it really kind of mirrored our childhood growing up. You know, I was a kind of I was a bookworm, kind of nerdy, big thick glasses and afro, and I was going to the Bronx High School of Science. You know, I was a really smart, nerdy kind of kid. And Play was the streetwise guy who had been to like 5 high schools, and he was wilding out there in them streets, and we had guns and sheepskins and all kinds of stuff like that. But had a definite way with the ladies. He was, and that's part of the friendship that kind of drew us together. And as we got to know one another, we realized that we could help one another. I knew that Play didn't want to be a high school dropout his whole life. So, I would urge him. I was like, yo, man, you can do it, man. Get your GED. Then you can move on with your life and you could do whatever you want to do. At that point, we didn't even know we were going to be rap stars or movie stars. We were just friends. We were just best friends. And by the same token, you know, he could see that I was really unsure and unsteady dealing out in the streets. You know, that stuff was kind of brand new for me. But that was right up his alley. So he gave me a whole lot of game as far as that's concerned. How to talk to cats in the neighborhood, how to talk to girls in the neighborhood, how to maneuver and navigate through these different situations. So we were there to help one another. And so when we read the script for Class Act, we were like, how do you know this? It's so freaking accurate. Right. You know what I mean? It was really accurate. And you know, to a point. And then we, knowing that we had actually gone through that within our friendship, we poured even more into it. So, and I think that's one of the reasons why that movie still holds a lot of weight today, because people can tell, like, yo, man, them dudes is homeboys, man. Them, you know, it's real. Right. And in a weird way, over all these years, what we found out is, you know, we meeting fans and everything, and a lot of times people will come up and say, yo, man, when me and my homeboy, when we was in high school, they used to call us Kid and Play. And what we realized was, man, Kid and Play started to become synonymous with friendship and loyalty and sticking down with each other and being there for one another. It kind of morphed into that. You know, it'd be like, yo, man, don't try to get between them two. Them too tight like Kid and Play. You know what I'm saying? Right. And then to this point, so it became synonymous with that. And then to another nicer, lesser degree, when you hear the young rappers throw your name in the records now. So, you know, and usually whenever it happens, one of my daughters will call me and say, they just said your name. Travis Scott just said your name.
I was looking
Travis Scott just said me and Drake kick like Kid and Play.
I was looking up earlier. I seen about like 4 or 5 records named Kid and Play. So that's why it was funny when you brought up that one record. It was crazy.
Yeah, you know what? I just saw some new ones that just came out, and I listened to them. I try to listen to all of them. And they a lot of them are good. They're really good. It's just that the one I told y'all about is just scarred me. You know what I'm saying? So.
Hey, that's a classic. I don't think anybody in the chat and anybody that's been watching this on all 3 different platforms literally is not gonna forget that story. That story right there is classic. That's something.
You see, Kev just said it.
What? I'm telling you, I'm gonna find that song and I'm gonna send it to you.
Send it to me.
And you're gonna send me a pair of J's.
Hey, I got you, bro.
No, I'm gonna send it to you, and you're gonna thank me, boy. You're gonna thank me.
You said you went to Bronx High School of Science.
I did.
I went to Clinton.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, by the time you went there, they let girls in, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Nah, when I went, listen, when I went. There was no girls. It was all boys.
Yeah, it was all boys school. Yeah,
it was all boys, and they had the crazy reputation. And you know how close it is. We right next door.
Yeah.
So typically they would come over like on senior day or something like that, and just come, you know, beat the shit out of all us nerds and stuff like that, you know, and then just go about their merry way. But what happened was I got lucky. This girl that I used to date, she also dated a football player over at Clinton, you know, back when the football team was undefeated like every year. And he was like the starting fullback. His name was Larry Johnson. Look him up. Go look up Larry Johnson, like early 80s. And what happened was me and him got tight. So every time the dudes would come over there to, you know, kick Bronx Science's ass, all them thugs go right by me because he told them, nah, don't touch him. He good. He good. So they running right by me, and they beat my friends up. They beating the teachers up, and they just let me alone. So, you know, I've always gotten lucky with that type of stuff, man. So me and Larry were real tight, and he was like All-American football. But, you know, y'all had so many All-Americans back in the days, but that was back in the days. And they would come over there, beat us up on their way over to Walton, because Walton, at that time, Walton was all girls. Walton was all girls. Clinton was all boys, so Clinton dudes were over there to rap to all the Walton chicks. So
it was, big rivalry was Clinton and Kennedy.
Clinton and Kennedy in terms of football, right?
Yeah.
Kennedy was dope. Kennedy had the real nice field. If I remember back, they always had like the best facilities.
Yeah,
I remember that. But yeah, those were the days, bro. You went to Clinton. What?
I have another question for you. Was there ever a time in your career, you know, with KIDNPLAY where, you know, someone would try to do something grimy to leave play out, and he was like, "Nah, I ain't messing with that."
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, particularly early on, um, after the success of House Party, and when a lot of different offers were coming at us, we kind of made a pact, and I don't know if it was the ultimately the right thing to do, because people go off and do solo stuff and come back all the time now. It's almost expected, but there was something. I think there was something we wanted to establish as a unit, and so typically, if they offered play something on his own, or if I got offered something on my own at that particular time, we would usually refuse it. We would prefer to work together. So if you're gonna you got a movie idea, make it for the two of us. If you got a television, we did a lot of sitcoms and all different stuff, and we always did it together because at that particular time, particularly at the outset, we wanted to really maintain the unit and keep elevating it. But down the line, I think we kind of evolved in that thinking. There's another line of that thinking that says that, hey, when you do those side projects and they're successful, you bring that success and that new notoriety back to the group.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's another way to look at it, but we didn't really look at it, that way at that time. But yeah, typically, if it wasn't both of us, we would be like, nah, we're cool.
I got another question here. We only got to do a couple more questions here, y'all, before we close it out. Okay, so Optimistic, shout out to Optimistic in the chat. He said, as a kid, he asked this a couple times too, so I had to finally get to it. What he said, what made, I guess talking about kid, what made him get on the track with Real Roxanne undercover?
Right. Okay. So this was an idea that I had. Real Roxanne was on the same label as us. She was on Select Records. She was produced by Full Force. If you go back and check her, real fine Puerto Rican chick. She could rhyme too. So what happened was I had an idea to use this sample, the Grace Jones sample, My Jamaican Guy. Yeah, you know the one that LL used for doing it well.
Yeah.
Okay. I sampled that in '87. Okay, I sampled that in '87 into '88 to make a record. So I looped it up. The bam 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 bam. So I wanted to write a song for me and Salt from Salt and Pepper about a couple that was cheating. They were cheating together.
Mm-hmm.
And the song was called Undercover. So bam 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 undercover. So and I think I got a copy of that somewhere where she and I did it together, and it sounded dope. The problem was Salt was on she was on Next Plateau Records. She wasn't on Select Records, and the two labels, Select and Next Plateau, couldn't make a deal. For some reason, I was just like, yo, man, I want to do the record with Salt. That's my homegirl. She did a great job. They're hot. We're hot. Boom, let's go. They never could make the deal. So the I guess, the alternative was to do it with Real Roxanne, who was our label mate, who could rhyme. And she sounded really good on the joint as well. But it's just, I wanted to do it with Salt, because
She sounded like Salt. She sounded like Salt on the record.
Yeah. She sounded like Salt with a Puerto Rican accent.
Yeah.
My emotions come on at the part of the fence. She threw a little Rosie in there. You know what I'm saying? But watch. Yeah, I'll find that one. I'll send you that version too, Rep. Me and Salt doing Undercover. But yeah, that was one of those things where, as I'm sure you guys have heard, the labels can't get along. The business doesn't mesh. Even though you want to do, but now, and I don't think we had the leverage that the artists have today. If the artists today, if they want to do something with somebody, they do it, and they tell, yo, work it out or else. And I think that's a better way to go about it. But I don't think we had that kind of leverage. And then they try to talk me into it anyway. Hey man, she's on your label. And I was like, all right, F it. You know what I mean? And like I said, it was a good record, but me and Salt, that would have been next level.
If you had $1 for every time somebody asked you, was Salt your sister, how rich would you be?
I'd be living in Malibu. You know what I'm saying? I'd be living I'd be living next to Schwarzenegger.
Hey, that's a fact though, Optimistic. Shout out to Optimistic with that question. If y'all ain't never heard that record, man, go listen to it. I was just listening to it earlier, getting ready for tonight. And that it's when you first hear it, you automatically gonna think of LL Cool J.
Dude,
You know what I'm
when did the LL Cool J record come out? When did that record come out? When did Doing It and Doing It come out?
That was mid 90s. That was mid 90s. That was mid 90s.
At least,
at
least,
least,
right?
Yeah, that was mid
That
90s.
joint, like I said, I looped that in '87. It came out '88.
Yeah,
and trust me, my point was, I think no disrespect, I think if we had left Salt on it, it had a better chance of becoming a single and then really going. You know what I mean? I think the reason why, and I and I love LL. Sometimes you can be too ahead of the curve with a sample, and then it was an album cut. It wasn't like a single, and then LO could he could see that we didn't take it to the fullest extent, and he definitely did. He definitely did. Yeah, there's a few situations like that where I had the sample like way before everybody. Like I looped up Paul Simon's 50 Ways to Leave Your Lover on that same album. And then I heard somebody do it maybe like 8 to 10 years later, but they did it right and they did it, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, that was a record I wrote called Can You Dig That? But yeah, that's just the thing. I mean, sometimes it's not just enough to make a record or a really good record. Sometimes the timing has to be right. The labels got to get along and make a deal. And that sometimes that's really frustrating. Which I think is great. Once again, with these cats today, they got much more freedom, man. Like they make a record today and drop it tomorrow, drop it tonight.
Right.
And nobody mess with you. You know what I mean? You're your own A&R. You're your own. There were so many people in the chain back then that you had to deal with. You do an edit on a song or you do a different mix. 10 motherfuckers got to hear the mix. You know what I'm saying? But to get back, like, nah, dude, that's, you know what I mean? Why the marketing dude got to hear my latest mix? Stop it.
Right.
But that's how the business was back then. So there's a lot more freedom today, I believe.
I think that LL Cool J record came out in 95, 96. But real quick, I want to shout out my cousin Aisha in the chat. Also, I want to get to what are you doing nowadays? What are you into? Like
I'm quarantined is what I'm doing.
As far as like business
I'm
ventures,
watching people march by my place. Keep it up. Keep it up. I'm in the group most likely to catch it. So I've been beans, potatoes, tomatoes, rams. I gotta be careful, yo. But yeah, you know what we've been I've been on lockdown for the most part, and just trying to be creative. I mean, we some friends of mine and we were talking, like, this is that opportunity for those half-written songs or those half-written scripts or concepts that you always been talking about. We didn't have time to finish, because Play and I had been on the road quite a bit, over these last 4 or 5 years. So it was always tough to kind of carve away some time to mess with new projects and or just develop ideas or just do different things. Now we get we have that time. It's also a great time for new intake. The stuff that you're watching on television, the movies and the information that you're getting. It's great. It's great to try to do that. I have to kind of stop myself sometimes because I'm a big news hound, and sometimes the news is just so discouraging that can kind of get you in a certain kind of way. So I try to do my best to sometimes take a break. Just throw on the music or throw on some ESPN to try to get up out of that, or go back and listen to old beats, get re-inspired, go back to listen to that Kid and Play song, get a good laugh. You know what I'm saying?
So basically, you over there just being a legend. I mean,
oh man, I don't know about that. Well, I'm very fortunate. You know what I'm saying? My girlfriend takes great care of me, and we when we do venture out, it's usually kind of in this area, this West Hollywood kind of area, and it's like real kind of I don't want to say exclusive like that, but just real private stuff. Like the people that we visit, usually have like really big places where you can kind of spread out and feel comfortable. So we've done that. We've done that a few times, and then just keeping up with everybody, catching up. It's a great time to catch up with some old partners that you haven't spoken to in a while, and that's what we're doing. And on the time, watching D Nice every night.
Oh man! And then one thing, OG, I wanted to get into, because we haven't got into it yet. I guess the last thing, which you're currently doing, which is the Kid and Blaze. How did you get into, like your own brand, getting into Kid and Blaze?
Well, coming out here was, I've been out here since '98, so I've been out here a while, and I got introduced to that community back then. People like my man Bill Maher, he knew a lot of people in the cannabis industry back in the late '90s, and I met some really cool people that gave me a lot of information. And I wasn't even a big smoker back then. When we were coming up, we didn't. I think Play and I smoked a little bit. Like I barely smoked at all. And then as we were rising and trying to blow up and do our thing, we didn't smoke at all. So that's kind of something that's kind of been in the last third of my life. But I just kind of looked out on the landscape, and I thought, not just thinking merely about trees, but just kind of a place where that's marijuana influenced. Obviously the trees part of it, but we always wanted a music arm of Kid and Blaze. Kid and Blaze is a way of thinking. There's a political progressive mindset behind it. So that's kind of what we've been doing. I started maybe like 3-4 years ago, and we had a little hiccup with some of the people that we had gotten involved with. So we got rid of that dead weight. And we installed some new management, and I got a great new co-CEO who's helping clean up everything. And so we're doing everything. There's merch, type stuff.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that.
That's
so
cool.
We got the merch. You know what I'm saying? I can hook y'all up. I know a guy. So I think it's going to be about that. We had a cool strain a couple years ago called Kid and Cookies, and that was actually pretty popular. But we're moving forward probably with with a new growing situation. And like I said, I'm a big admirer of the cats that do it. Cypress, Be Real in them is a good friend, and he helped me out a lot when I first got started. But I'm watching all these cats, burners, doing big things. The Jungle Boys are huge. So I'm really mindful I'm trying to be mindful of the landscape. And if it's going to be about the trees, it more be like kind of exclusive brands. I mean, if you're just selling weed, you ain't gonna make no money. So you want to sell everything involved. You want to sell the grinders, and you want to sell the incense, and you want to sell you want to sell the gear, and you want to and you want to sell you want to sell kind of a way of thinking, independent, and I think that's part of it. So I'll keep y'all in the loop as we launch. We getting ready to launch the website, so cats can cop merch if they want. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And,
so currently, merch isn't available right now, but it's
no right now, but within what? How many weeks? How many weeks can they get merch? 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Okay.
2 weeks. I'm gonna keep you in the loop, Rep. You know what I mean?
Keep me posted. Yeah, we most definitely. Yeah. Please do that. Please do that. Any before we close out.
Hey, and my man IBA. We got 2X, 3X. We got you, B. You know what I mean?
Hey, why you come for me though? Like, golly, like
I got a triple X with your name on it, IBA.
Good looking. Appreciate it. But let me ask you one question before we let you go.
You can put it on over a bulletproof vest, okay?
So let me ask you a question though. Like, okay, you know how music is taking a real turn, especially a lot of these local artists out here in LA. You know what I'm saying? I think it's worse than mumble rap. It's to the point where I can't even listen to the music that come out nowadays. So how do you feel about it? And then second,
So you out in LA?
what,
Is that
yeah,
what
I'm in LA.
Okay.
I'm from LA.
Okay. Okay,
So
bet.
before you answer that, then I want you to answer this question: is if I get in your car, what is going to be playing when I turn on the stereo?
Ooh. See, I don't drive anymore. Number one.
Oh, okay.
But
Legend shit. That's legend shit right there.
I haven't.
Well, your iPod or your playlist. What's what's gonna come on when I turn? You know what I'm saying?
I haven't driven in about 7 or 8 years, so I wouldn't. But typically, if I get in my girl's car or whatever, typically I'll go to I'll go to K-Day. You know, I'll go to the old school station.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I listen to that. That's what I listen to too.
Yeah, like at home, I'll flip through, get some stuff off Apple or I when I'm watching videos in the middle of the night, I try to watch the video so that I'll see who's the new guys out. I'll watch the countdown on one of them channels on Spectrum,
right,
to try to keep up with that. But typically, if I get in somebody's cars, I'm go play K-Day because there's always going to be something I know. It's always
right.
gonna, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be a good song that holds up. Either lyrically or sonically or both. And the funny part is the way they've extended it. We know what old school is. Old school is, old school is me. Old school is me and cats older than me.
Right.
But you go on K-Day now and they play old school and they play, here's the old school. I wanna lick you from your head to your toes.
That's true.
I said that's old school now, but to these kids, that's old school. That's old.
Right,
Ludacris old school to them. I'm ancient. I'm like the pyramids. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's interesting to see how which was smart too, because it gives them a chance to kind of expand the playlist. And yeah, to if you're 30 or to 35, Ludacris is old school to you.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Think about it. So yeah, I'm more likely to go to old school, but I listen to a little bit of everything. To be honest, I stumbled onto this when this whole pandemic started. I was just kind of stumbling around, going through old music, going through YouTube videos and stuff. And sometimes you can kind of get on a line. And one day I was in a gospel mood, so I was listening to like Karen Clark Sheard and Marvin Winans. And a cat named Byron Cage. So I listen to that all the time. Like I'm not religious at all. Like I'd always be afraid to walk into a church for fear that it would burst into flames. But I like gospel music because it's so very inspirational. Even if you're not a believer, I think you can get something out of what what they're saying, and especially nowadays. Excuse me. You need to draw inspiration from wherever you can. So a little bit of everything. I'll throw on the Apple Music chill, today's chill, and start cleaning up around the house. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know that they're doing these versus battles right now. If Kid and Play were to do a versus battle, who would y'all go up against? Who would be a good opponent to go up against?
I don't know. Somebody dead. MC Breed. I don't know.
Really?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know that. To be honest, I mean, we got joints, but I don't know that we got like joint. I mean, a vast majority of joints. Like some of these great artists, they got song after song after song after song. You know what I mean? I mean, typically you'd say something like Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, but I mean, Will went on to make so many more records. Like, what I'm saying? Like we'd get destroyed. You know what I mean? Like we'd probably hang out for like the first, 3-4 rounds, and then he's gonna start getting jiggy with it, and I'll be like, oh, Jack. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh Lord.
V said salt and pepper. That might work.
Who saw? No, they would crush us, man. They got too many hits, man. You kidding me?
Yeah, tripping, man.
Oh,
These kicks don't know no music. So
no, but I would say this. I would say this. But because a lot of these versus things, they're not really battles at all. They're just like celebrations.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I would love to do one with Salt and Pepper, because that would be great, because then we could kind of tell the story of all of us coming up together and just, you know, so it's less like a battle and more like a journey. Like, remember this song? Remember we did this song? You know,
right.
like we did do a song with them back in the days, called I think it was called I Don't Know. Slow, kind of a slow joint, but you know, fun kind of song. But you know, we can go back and forth. I can tell that undercover story, you know, how the record was supposed to be with Salt. And so I mean, I think that would be good, because I've been watching all the versus battles, and you know, they're like love fests, which is great, you know.
That's a fact.
Super Lover C and Casanova Rudd, you know, like, you know, Cash Money and Marvelous, like, you know, there's not a lot of duos, you know. Yeah, there's no duos anymore, guys. There's no groups anymore.
It's really
wanna
not.
Everybody want to be a soloist, right?
Yep, that's a fact.
And then just collabo with somebody. But
What,
yeah, it's all good. I'll keep watching.
What's and it's one more question. What's your top 5 MCs all time?
Well, I would say it in no. I'll give you the photo. I think. Look, we getting clips.
You good?
I'll give you 5, but in no particular order.
Yeah.
Okay. Definitely Jay. Nas, Eminem.
Okay.
I'm from New York, so I'm gonna go with Biggie. And I gotta rep for the old school and the man that inspired me to become a rapper, and that would be Grandmaster Melly Mel. Melly Mel.
I'll give it to you.
Dope.
I can respect that list.
That's my 5, but who knows? Who knows? If I drink this Hennessy, I'll give you another different answer in an hour.
Hey, well, most definitely.
You know what I'm saying?
Let's y'all got any more questions before we close it out, y'all?
Nah, man. All I gotta say, man, I enjoyed this. I appreciate you coming on and telling us these stories, and just it was taking us way back. I appreciate it. And you're definitely, as Q would say, a legend.
Facts.
As Q said before, you're a legend.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that, man. You know, y'all took me down memory lane as well. You guys are quite thorough questioners.
Hey,
which is great, though, because that means, you know,
that's what I do.
Y'all are a huge part of the culture. So it's when it comes to the culture, like, you guys have a significant place in it, and I think we all have great memories, you know, whether in our childhood or adulthood, that entails you guys' content. You know what I'm saying? So you guys lived in all of our some way, or, you know, in our lives in some way or shape or form, you know. So we definitely appreciate you. It was a privilege.
That's a fact.
Thank you. Yeah, man. So let's stay down, man. I'll be following you cats, all right?
Oh, no doubt.
And definitely follow you on IG.
I appreciate the time, man. It's nice to get out. Y'all definitely be safe out there and take care of your people.
OG, most definitely. I appreciate you coming through tonight, and I'm gonna talk to you in a minute.
All right, bet that.
Okay.
One.
Stay up.
Hey, so y'all see what it is, man. Shout out once again to the OG coming through tonight. Kid from KIDNPLAY, man. Told y'all I was having a special guest come through tonight from an iconic hip hop group, and most definitely one of the most iconic hip hop movies, you know what I'm saying, of all time, which is obviously, you know what I'm saying, House Party. Man, I appreciate everybody coming through tonight, man. I mean, I most definitely had a good time. I've been working on this. I mean, me and Kid, we've been talking about this for literally over a year, you know, whatever, but just times just wasn't, you know, and it came into alignment this Tuesday, like we was talking about earlier. It was like earlier last week, and I was like, come on, man, stop playing. And he was like, all right, Rep, we're gonna do it next week. You know, of just us, you know, going back and forth talking. So most definitely I appreciate him coming through tonight. Man, what y'all think, man? What y'all think?
You know
we already know.
Me with that message. What did I say?
What?
Well, you hit me with that message. You said who we got on Tuesday. So you gotta be shitting me. Man,
Man.
it was dope, man, to actually speak to a hip hop legend, like
Yeah,
ask
Facts.
questions.
yeah.
Like, who
He
would
didn't have
ever
to do
think
that, and he
that
did
we
that.
were doing
That
something? You
that
know?
was great.
It was great. I loved it. I enjoyed every
Yeah.
minute of it.
That's a fact. That's a fact, man. Most definitely, man. It was most definitely it was a good time having them on. Most definitely got more things coming, you know what I'm saying, with the show. Y'all see what it is, us four, including Caddy. Man, if y'all like what y'all saw tonight, man, like this is like we'll be doing more stuff like this or whatever. So, let us know what's good in the comment section or, in our DMs or whatever like that. But yeah, most definitely I had a good time tonight, man. That was just a little bit. That wasn't even like we didn't even really touch like everything that we was gonna talk about. You know what I'm saying? Like y'all know BX had a million more questions. Like, you know what I'm saying? Q had her thing, so she had to
Man.
come in a little bit late. Like it was plenty other things that we were supposed to talk about tonight, but I wanted to keep it still at at our normal like 2 hour mark or whatever like that. So, you know what I'm saying?
I had plenty more jokes, and we were stuck on the house party.
Yeah, I mean,
Hey.
I'm just playing. That was love, though.
I want to go watch House Party right now.
I still had plenty more things that I wanted to talk about, you know what I'm saying, about House Party, like we talked about before, but actually, like put it out there to the public or whatever like that. Like, BX was saying, like it was so many comedians, like that whole cast, like you can't make that up about how many
Right.
like legends before they was legends that was in that movie. I mean, from just literally everybody. There ain't nobody that's not in that movie that had a role that's not literally like a legend now.
Everybody, yeah.
Like I
Trying
called
to
just
make
a
$1
few
out of
names. I
15
couldn't
cents.
call all the names. I just called just a little bit of the names that were on it,
And nobody was on. Everybody was trying to get a slice of the cake.
Yeah, exactly.
I would say the people that were the most on at that particular time was probably Full Force. Full Force. G.C. Campbell had already done movies before then, so I would say only those two were probably the most on, if we want to say.
John Witherspoon and Robin Harris doing stand up, but not doing movies like that.
Yeah.
Rest in peace to those two brothers too.
Yeah, rest in peace to both of them for real.
Yeah.
That's when you say Robin Harris, you just like a different level when you say Robin Harris. That dude, like that guy was a real legend, But it was dope, rap. I appreciate all of this, man. Like, I had to go get my Stuart Scott on. So
I mean, I'm a grown ass man, but he was a piece of all our growing up. You know what I'm saying? As far as music, and you know what I'm saying, as far as everything, like we watched that man's journey. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's a fact.
From music, TV, movies, fashion, all that, comedy, all that stuff. It's
a blessing
crazy
for him. I mean, you know what I'm saying? He's had a good life. I mean, so yeah.
How many times have we seen House Party on this panel? Class acts.
Exactly.
Numerous times.
How many times a year? How about that?
It's like, oh snap, House Party's on. Watch this.
Yeah, if it's on, like that's one of them type of things. That's one of them type of things. Like if it comes on, you see it come on, you're gonna sit down and watch it.
Right. Never gets old.
No, it never gets old. And I mean, we got into it a little bit about, the demographic of how rap changed, you know what I'm saying, and gangster rap came in. So, they fell back. But the dope thing about them as a group and as Kid and Play is the transition that they made, though. Like a lot of people can't make transitions, and not just hip hop, but just all walks of life. Like, when the rap was dying a little bit, like the movies was popping, and then y'all can't, like, don't get it twisted. Like they really set the tone for a lot of things as far as black business and just exposure, period. Because you're talking about comic books. Ain't no other rapper did no comic book now. You know what I'm saying? They start, and you talking about with Marvel, come on, like they had a Marvel comic book, they had their own cartoon. Nobody was doing cartoons, you know what I'm saying? And we talking about movies and everything else, like that's just crazy.
Right.
That's just crazy. That's a fact. That's a fact.
But I want to shout out the chat. They were very attentive. They had good questions also. So shout out to everybody in the chat that pulled up tonight. Had really, really, really good questions.
Yeah, shout out to the chat. Most definitely tonight we started. We ventured off where we actually doing, like I said earlier, we doing YouTube and Facebook at the same time. So shout out to everybody on Facebook. Shout out to everybody on YouTube, man. This was really dope. We had 1 million questions on Facebook, and we had 1 million questions, you know what I'm saying, on YouTube. And I appreciate everybody coming through tonight. We most definitely had a good time, man. Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. This was dope. This was really dope, man. I appreciate y'all.
Appreciate you.
Y'all want to hit these outros, man, so we can get out of here? Y'all know what I'm about to do.
Thanks to Rep thanks to Kid Christian Reed from Kid and Play for pulling up tonight. Rep, dope guest. Appreciate you pulling me in. The boy BX Rays on IG, giving me a follow, and man, great show.
No doubt, man. It's your boy IBA. You know what I'm saying? Rep, you did it again. You surprised the hell out of me. You know what I'm saying? When I found out who was pulling up, I was like, quit playing. Like, you know what I'm saying? I thought you was trolling, but you did that, man. You're the man for that. But yeah, man, it's your boy IBA. You know what I'm saying? Your favorite troll, aka the class clown. And thanks for everybody that pulled up. I couldn't see the chat today, so you know what I'm saying? Before y'all leave, make sure I hit that that like button, show the support, and you know, thanks for always, you know, hanging out with us and you know what I'm saying, doing what we do over here.
Where you at? Tell everybody where you at.
Oh, I'm in Vegas. Hey, I'll be all right. Look, I'll be all right, man. I'm ready. Whatever.
Yeah,
I'm ready. I'm out here.
He out there in Sin City. He out there in Sin City catching all this.
Catching all the roads.
Yeah.
You got your gloves on, your hazmat.
I got everything ready. I'm ready for whatever.
But yeah, it's your girl, Cutie Queen. Again, sorry for my tardiness. Hopefully, you know, I'll be back on track at least for a couple of months before the summer's over. Then we'll be back at it when the school year starts again. So, but yeah, you know, I'll do my best. But yeah, again, it was good, man. I was excited, of course. You know, I'm real cool and mellow about my excitement.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed my time, man. And you know, I always enjoy you guys, love y'all, which is why I keep showing up. And yeah, man, just thank you guys for letting me be a part of it. You know, I have to say that as well. So
hey, well, once again, man, I appreciate everybody coming through. I appreciate everybody on the panel. You know, Q, IBA, BX. Matter of fact, if y'all watching on Facebook, man, make sure that you guys, if y'all got an Instagram, make sure you guys follow all three of these people. You know, from Q to Queen, IBA, Sneakerhead, and BX. Most definitely, they you know, they the homies. We do this every Tuesday, 7:30 Central. Sometimes we may be 5 minutes late, but you know what? We gonna be here. So, man, most definitely every Tuesday, man, every Tuesday, 7:30 Central. Make sure y'all hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Make sure you guys hit that comment section. That very much helps us out. Let us know what's good, what y'all like, what y'all don't like. So, you know what I'm saying? Let's keep that going. So most definitely, if you're watching on Facebook, this week was the first time doing it on Facebook. I appreciate y'all coming through. Man, and that's pretty much it, man. Yeah, because we ain't got nothing Saturday.
So it is something Saturday.
We ain't got nothing Saturday.
There is something Saturday.
What's going on Saturday?
They having the battles Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
The Tournament of Champions?
Yeah, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
This week?
It's not Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's just one day, I thought.
Nah, I spoke to E Money. He said one battle's Friday, the next battle's Saturday, and then the championship between the last two is on Sunday.
Okay.
I ain't gonna see you on Friday then. So, all right, cool.
You traveling back home on Friday, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if it's changed, but
we
I
probably
spoke
just
to
do
him
the
like
recap
2
for
days
that.
ago. That's what he told me. I don't know if he changed it or not, but 2 days ago, that's what he told me.
If they do it like that, we could do the recap on Tuesday.
Yeah, that's what I was finna say. We ain't gonna do no 3 days in a row now. We'll just do everything on next Tuesday. Like bump that.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, sound like a plan to me.
Hey, no disrespect.
Hop just put it in the chat. Hop just put it in the chat. Yeah.
All right, bet.
Sunday. So we'll just do it next Tuesday. So make sure y'all come through next Tuesday and we'll do the recap then. But yeah, that's pretty much it, man. I appreciate everybody coming through tonight. I most definitely had a good time. You know, most definitely it was an experiment doing this on YouTube and Facebook, and it was a flawless victory. So I mean, you know, we'll keep it going, man. I don't know. There's nothing else to talk about, man. I'm gonna holler at y'all later.
So
Peace.
Later.